Welcome to Hair Metal Chaos Live. Not in Los Angeles, unfortunately. Uh, my name is Anthony, and they call me the Guru. And Stevie Rachelle will be live from Chatsworth here in just a minute. But thank you for tuning into episode number 11. We finally hit double-digit shows last week with this episode number 10. We broke our record with over 500 viewers at one time. And what better place to do it than live at the Rainbow Bar and Grill? And after an epic week in Los Angeles for both Stevie and I, we thought we'd finish up by recapping the highlights and most importantly, getting you involved by answering your questions about everything from the two Tuff shows to holy shit, Jeremy and I hanging out at Bobby Blotzer's house and everything in between. So tonight, we're back to reality. But remember, you come for the hair metal, but you stay for the chaos. The chaos begins right after this.
Middle chaos with the Guru and Rachelle.
Let's get me in here. Let's get Stevie in here. I know somebody's going to say, hey, there's Charlie. She didn't look like she missed you very much. So blah, blah, blah. We'll probably get to that here in a second because, yeah, I was kind of disappointed in my greeting with Charlie yesterday. Stevie, I just saw you a couple days ago, but we are back home. Well, you were always home. The week in Los Angeles was over, but welcome back to the show.
Anthony, it's so good to see you. Yeah, last week was amazing. It was so busy, though. I mean, I couldn't keep up, and couldn't really get a full night of sleep. I mean, I think one of those nights went into bed. It was like after 3, which for me, that doesn't happen unless I'm touring or doing shows, which I was a couple of shows last week. So it was crazy, but dude, it was so great to meet you. You're an awesome person, and I have no problem saying I love you, Anthony.
I love you too, man. And if you saw any of my lives, I'm sure there's bets going on at what point the waterworks start flowing and I fucking cry like a little bitch again. I already did that, but no crying this week. It was an awesome week, and I really it was so busy. It's not like it's not like we got to hang out a whole bunch. We got to do the shows, but you had all your stuff going on with Tuff, with the band being back in town. I was hanging out with Jeremy, my buddy Theron Paul from 77 Shakedown. We had all sorts of crazy stuff, but it was awesome meeting you, hanging out with Stephanie, the two Tuff shows, all the other activities. So it was kick ass. So I want to get into all of that, and let's kind of see who we have in the comments right now before we kind of catch up on. Ordinarily we start this thing off. We start this. It says Stevie's volume is low. Stevie, I was kind of wondering about that earlier.
It is low?
That's what I'm seeing at least one comment. Please let me know what other comments. Dear Lord. I'm already seeing it. So, yeah, Stevie, turn up the volume. Can barely hear Stevie.
Check 1 2. Test 1 2. Can everybody hear me better now?
I don't.
Or a no?
I think you're still low. I think you're still low. Is the volume on your AirPods turned up? Because your computer the volume on your computer might be up, but your AirPods might be low.
Okay, well, let me look at this real quick.
So while you're doing that, I'm going to see who's in the comments.
Go do it.
And I don't know why this is here. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, well, Stevie Rachelle already said he's excited for the show. So what the hell? That's cool. Let's get rid of that. Gigi Loves Rock is back. And I'm not going to highlight all these. Dee Mad City is back. Stephanie Mandel is here. Ash's Antics, my buddy, is here. Who else do we got? 2A Chef and Barbecue is here. The Bacon Junior Show is here. Patrick Reeves, who, man, there were so many, like, geez, I barely talked to Patrick last week. Last week was so chaotic. So Patrick is back. We finally talked today. Exciting shit happened on the channel today that I'll get to here in a second. Who else do we got in the comments? Hit us up. Let us know where you're coming from. Francis Gremp, Tales of a Kiss Geek from Dublin, Ireland. Michelle Nick72 says, "What's up, Guru Tribe?" Hey, if you didn't watch my live the other day, you know that, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but Jeremy and Theron Paul said that Guru groupies are now going to be called Gurupies. Get it? Gurupies. Anyway, that's not very funny, but I thought it was kind of. Jeff Klein is here. And let's see who else we got. Sinister is here. So we have right now already 194 people. Holy shit, that's awesome. JJ Collins. And hopefully I pronounced this right. Catton or Caton Brooks. We were chatting today. He is going to Monsters on the Mountain in Tennessee coming up here in 3 weeks. So man, looking good forward to that. Kevin Minton is here. So we have a lot of people here. You guys have no idea how much it means that you guys keep coming up. S Beard 73, welcome home, Guru. The Amazing Blazing Caucasian. That's an interesting name. The Amazing Blazing Caucasian. 49ers suck butt is here. Oh, Schneids is here. Schneids, our good buddy. So Stevie, are we hearing Stevie?
Okay, so
Any?
tell me, can you hear me better now or not? Because if you
Well, I hear you, but I still feel like you're not very loud. So Stevie, what I'm wondering is the next best option to not use these and to talk.
I'm gonna go out and come back in like I usually do.
Yep,
So
do that.
ditch
Do
me. I'll
that.
be back in a minute.
Perfect. Stacy Archangel says, here, I'll show a couple of these comments while we're waiting for Stevie to get fixed up. Anthony, what happened with the beard dye? If you remember, probably a year or two ago, I was dyeing my beard, but I was using some cheap fucking $12 shit that I was buying at Walmart. And maybe I was allergic to it, but I would do it. And it would I would feel like it was something was happening to my skin that would take like a day and a half to get rid of. So I figured, you know what? Just age into it and screw it. You have white hair, whatever. I have no hair, whatever. So I'm gonna try to grow old without trying to do any other shit to change my looks. Michelle says, "Did Charlie miss you?" If you follow me on social media, I did share. I recorded myself walking in the house, and I titled the video. I think Charlie missed me, but I'll be honest. It didn't look like she missed me. It looked like she was pissed when I got home. So I come walking up the stairs. I'm recording. No, she's not at the door waiting for me. She looked like she just woke up and was like, where the hell have you been? You know, kind of like when you got home at 3 o'clock from the bar and your wife or your girlfriend was sitting there waiting. So she didn't look very happy. But I will say that later on last night, like an hour and a half after I got home, she was like standing beside me on the couch and smiling and pawing at me to pet her. So that was cool. Let me get into a couple other comments. Chris Meyer said, "Love the Slaughter video this morning." I did put out a video this morning with me and Ryan ranking these songs on Slaughter's Stick It To You album. And I'll say this, that outside of just doing LA shit, you know, I had planned on like putting out content last week, but I was so busy. There was never any free time. So really all you got was I did 3 lives last week. And obviously we did the Chaos Live at the Rainbow, but I did not put out any, I didn't put out an interview today. Stevie, are we hearing you now?
You know what? Tell me.
Oh, I think that sounds way better.
Yeah, you know what I did? I adjusted the microphone.
There you go.
I was messing with this. The thing is, obviously we've only done this 10 times so far. It's like sex. I'm still kind of figuring it out. So the earbuds, we got the laptop, we got the microphone, we got the ring light. So yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit more in the mix. So I think I figured it out. Ask everybody, can they hear me? And or better yet, can everybody hear me? Is it louder?
Much better. Yasmin
Awesome.
Bollock says, some people, I see a couple people that says you're still a little low. I hear you a lot better. But
Check 1 2.
Stephanie Mandel says that you're better. So
Check 1 2. Testing
I,
1 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 1 2.
I think that sounds pretty good. Is it? But it's not important for me. It's important for you. So you're talking into the microphone.
No, but the microphone
Okay.
is literally it's right on the desk, like in front of me.
Hey,
So and
I
I can
think
adjust this a few different
get
ways.
get it closer because then you were fucking loud.
I'm gonna put it right here, so it's like
Yeah. Oh, I've seen that look on you before. And I was like, hey, just I'll give you a tap on the hat when I'm good to go if you know what I'm saying.
on the. Who says I'm wearing a hat? Oh wait, you're right.
That's right. That's right. So I think you are good. There are 229 people here. That is awesome. I appreciate you guys being paid. Jason Mute is here. Jason, text me because I need to buy some merch from you. I need to buy some glasses and a bunch of shit. And so I need to buy that stuff. And then we need to talk about getting your interview scheduled. So hopefully, Jason Mute, the laser engraved guy who does the best fucking merch, and I have started wearing these religiously. I need some of these too. Hair Metal Chaos leather fucking bracelets. Hair Metal Guru
So
leather
yeah, Anthony,
bracelets.
I don't think you'll have to go into that. When you got to the rainbow, when I handed you a box of goods, and do me a favor, don't tell Stephanie I went to Taco Bell.
Well, she'll
Oh,
probably be able to hang out or probably be able to figure it out by smelling your ass later on. Just kidding. Who is this? Metal Babe Mayhem. Is that Allison?
that's Allison.
Allison made this shirt. So it says Metal Babe on it, but thank you. It's short sleeve. And now, Allison, type in your fucking website so people can go buy Metal Babe shirts. We are going to get into talking about things from last week. We're going to do a quick update before we get into that. We just, we always got to take care of our technical difficulties. We got to get Stevie to let everybody know that he ate some Taco Bell. I got to look at the comments a little bit. So everybody, thank you for being here. We're over 230 strong, back from Los Angeles. I just got back yesterday. So Stevie, let's kind of go into what we were talking about, doing an update. And I have no clue what you're going to talk about, but I know what I'm going to talk about. So what's going on in the metal sludge world, either lately or even coming up?
Well, I could say this: Metal Sludge has kind of been on. It's been on pause the last
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 days because I was super busy with some stuff, and I have the ability to do that. I don't have to update it every single day, and there's times when it kind of sits a little dormant per se, and it has for most of the last week because I was super busy. Tuesday, everybody was flying into the airport. I had to pick up our guitarist. Wednesday was rehearsal. Thursday was the whiskey. Friday was the VIP party. Saturday was collecting things and putting people in vehicles and taking them back to LAX. And Sunday was, thankfully, I can rest a little bit. And then yesterday was getting caught up on mail order, and today a little bit of the same. So I don't have any updates, but I do have 3 things I'd like to discuss.
Okay.
Number 1 is you, Anthony Bryant. We met last week.
on Tuesday. It was awesome. And you and me have had a friendship that has developed over the last year or so. And it's developed even more in the last 6 months. And I'm going to keep it short because we don't need to get too sappy. But you're an awesome guy. You really are an awesome guy. You've become a great friend. And I knew there was something cool about you when we started becoming friends online. We became friends on the phone, and we just, it's funny. We talked a few times for a long time. I told Stephanie, she's like, I don't even talk to my girlfriends that long, you know? So, but you and me just clicked. And you know what else? I've seen you clicked with Blotzer. You've clicked with Ricky Rocket. You've clicked with Jeremy and all your other friends, all your other people that you've become friends with. And you're a good shit, you know? And all these people that I've introduced you to over along the way, including Blotzer. Him and I had some text the other day about you, and he was very, very complimentary of you as a person. And that's my number one for last week. Meeting you was awesome, hanging out, and I'm thankful that I could help you and help launch your channel a little bit more. And now we kind of do a few things together. And seeing you walk into a room and get noticed before I do, and people walk up to you. You know, I walk into a room and I can't tell you how many people that I ran into that were there. They're like, dude, where's the guru? I had that multiple times. People like, dude, where's the guru guy? I want to meet him. And that happened at the Whiskey. That happened at the Rainbow and the whole last week. So everybody listening, watching, give it up for Anthony Bryant, the hair metal guru. This guy is a good guy. He's got good DNA, and he's my friend, and I'm stoked to say that. And I speak for all of my friends, all of my band members, and I speak for Stephanie as well. She loves you.
I'm not gonna cry.
Okay.
Thank man. Oh, is that a black and blue shirt? Oh no shit.
That is
Um,
Jamie St. James.
wow, that's from the Hell Yeah album. I I appreciate it, I've said it before. I will never be able to thank you guys enough for the hospitality you showed. And I said the other day, and it's not hyperbole to me. I talked to you probably more than I talk to anybody. Sometimes you and I call each other 3 times a day, and
Right.
sometimes it's just to be like, "What are you up to?" And so I know why you were so successful, because you are so charismatic. And and when we get into it, like the way you controlled the audience at the Whiskey, but then even one on one, you are just a down to earth. You can tell, not that like Midwest people, but Midwest people, they kind of have that small town vibe. So anyway, you're awesome too, man. I think you're one of my best friends, and it means the world that you would say that, and that for me to come into your world and have people like accept me there, that means a lot.
Awesome.
So here, well, mine aren't as cool as yours, because mine do probably have to do with music shit. But one thing I did want to let people know is uh, coming up this week, I will, well, when we get into it, but here's a big thing that happened on the channel today. And I kind of let the cat out of the bag a couple weeks ago. But today I interviewed Stephen Sweet from Warrant. And Patrick, everybody knows Patrick, or if you follow the channel, Patrick Reeves. He and I have been working for 18 months to try to get somebody from Warrant, an original Warrant member, on the channel. It finally happened today. So thank you to Noah Turner, Eric Turner's son, who does a lot of the PR for Warrant. Finally, we landed Stephen Sweet. I talked to him for about an hour and 10 minutes, an hour 15 minutes today. They don't do a lot of podcasts. And Stephen Sweet, I don't know. I can't find any podcasts with him. So got to talk to him, and we did get into some deeper details. I plan on putting that out tomorrow. I plan on, because I think it's a big deal for the channel to get somebody like that. So anyway, talk to Stephen Sweet today. An amazing score for the channel.
Bravo.
And you're awesome. So what else you got?
So number 2 would be
Going back to what with you last week, obviously hanging out with everybody. Last week was kind of unique and special in a lot of ways because what happened is we got offered that Quiet Riot Slaughter show last 6 months ago, and it was obviously going to be a big summer show, and now obviously a couple weeks ago they had to postpone it and they moved it. But because of that original show, we put the whiskey with it, and we couldn't get the Saturday because it was booked. So we took the Thursday. Then we had a Saturday in Phoenix, and we basically tried to put the whole weekend, a West Coast weekend together. And when we did that many months ago, all the guys from the old school were excited. In other words, Michael's back, Todd's back, obviously, myself, and a bunch of our old roommates and old friends. We're all going to come out for this summer. And we were supposed to be in Phoenix on Saturday after the Anaheim show. Well, obviously a few things fell through. The Phoenix show was booked, and then they double booked and they pulled us off the calendar. So we ended up spending the whole, week, basically in the Valley. But all my roommates came out. My cousin Keith came out. Michael's drum tech Dennis was here. My buddies from Wisconsin, Jamie and Jackie, who I've known since before Tuff. Schneids came out from Exciter. Some of my roommates that lived with us in North Hollywood and Reseda, Billy from Philly, Alex from Quebec, Chris Wilson, who lives in Florida, who was in The Mistakes with Toy Stacy, Todd, my dear friend, our dear friend who passed away last fall. And the Foxy Rocks guys were on that bill, one of the 90s glam bands from the Strip, and they decided to do a tribute to Toy Stacy. The whiskey was even so cool that the marquee said, Tuff, American Jet, or Foxy Rocks, American Jets at the other bands, and then Rip Toy Stacy, and there was a lot of people there that knew Todd. Toy Stacy was one of his nicknames, one of his stage names. That's the nickname that he had when he was in the Zeros, which Sammy Sirius nicknamed him that. And Joe Normal from the Zeros came out to the whiskey, and the guys from Wild Side, and not just Drew, but Drew and Mark and Jimmy, 3 of the 5 guys were there. And I know a lot of people were excited to meet them. Just so many people, then the studio gig we did, Howie Simon was out there. Wednesday 13 popped in. Ash from Vane was actually there early. Lonnie and Loki Huey, who have been from the Strip and friends of ours since forever. Lonnie was in The Decline of Western Civilization. Her brother was a security guard for Poison when they were local. I mean, you met a lot of these people. So I'm just kind of blabbering about all those people just are so meaningful to us. And it's crazy because we were all friends and living together and hanging out together 30, 35, 37, 38, 39, almost 40 years ago. Next summer will be 40 years since I joined this band. So a lot of those friendships were people that were hanging out were literally teenagers or 20 or 21 years old. And now we're all, dare I say, we're all in our 60s or 50s, late 50s, and have kids. And some people have grandkids. And all of them people coming together last week was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing to have so many people in the same room at a couple of those events. And a lot of those people as well met you for the first time and have seen you on a couple podcasts, and they were all complimentary of you. And just everybody had a great time. So that's my number 2 for last week.
Yours are so much better than mine. Shit. So and what I'm kind of hoping to do after, and this is awesome, by the way, after we get through this, is maybe go through a little bit of we'll recap going to the Rainbow, doing Hair Metal Chaos Live. We'll recap your rehearsal on Wednesday, Thursday, the whiskey show, all of that stuff. Then I did some other, the Blotzer thing, but we can kind of, you were hanging out with Schneids and the other guys, so we'll kind of recap that. But I'm going to go back to Hair Metal Guru stuff that I was going to talk about. So I didn't do regular content this week. Usually I would do interviews yesterday. So the interview that would have come out yesterday, obviously I said Stephen Sweet tomorrow, but next week will be Big John Murray That was Poison's Bodyguard. That will, and he worked on Rock of Love with Bret Michaels. That will be coming out next week. And on Friday, we usually do album reviews. Well, today I did do an album ranking of the songs with Ryan on the Slaughter Stick It To You album. But on Friday, there will be, and here's Charlie. Charlie, we're going to talk about how little you missed me when I got home. Yeah, you were so naughty when I got home. You were supposed to make me. You were supposed to make me look a lot cooler when I got home. But on Friday, I'm going to put out a review where the Roundtable crew talked about the Janie Lane Back Down to One solo album that came out, I think in '04 it was. So anyway, that's something that's coming up on the channel. So that's my second one.
Awesome. So I guess I got to mention my third. So yeah, my third thing that was so amazing this last week is that my son, Steven, I have two kids. My son, Steven, is 21. My daughter, Chiricella, his sister is 22. They both go to UC Berkeley. Well, technically, Chiricella just graduated in May. She graduated. She's working full time. She's going into the medical field. She already works as a CNA. She's a certified nurse's assistant. She got her license. She's a phlebotomist. She works for a doctor. She's awesome. And we had some great chats over the weekend. She was telling me that her brother called her and told her all about the show. But this was Steven's first time seeing me live, and he came with a whole bunch of his friends. You know, when we were planning this some months ago, he said he was going to come, and then he said, how many people can I come with? And I said, well, who are you going to come with? And at some point he says, and to anybody that's in a band that's watching this, we all know about guest list etiquette, you know, but it's family. So you're like, you know, yeah, +1, +2, whatever, you know, and he's like, well, I'm going to come with 5 friends. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm not sure how much our list is going to be, but, you know, we'll figure it out. Then about a week ago, before the show, like last Tuesday or something, he called and he said, so a couple more of my friends want to come. And I go, okay, how many? 13. He's like, he wants him plus 13 plus passes. And, you know, we put it on. I made it work. And I told the Whiskey, hey, if I got to pay for some of these, I will. But my son came, him and a bunch of his friends drove down from Berkeley. He starts school in a month. He's going to be a senior this year, but he did do some summer school classes at Berkeley as well. But he came down, and that was the first time ever that my son's seen me perform. And obviously he grew up with me. He's seen the posters. He's seen the videos. He's heard the songs. He's seen all the goofy photos. That's Steven in the crowd. He came up towards the front of the stage, and at some point, it looked like he was taking a selfie, but he was calling one of his friends that really wanted to be there, but he couldn't. So he called him on FaceTime, and that's him with his buddy on FaceTime. And I'm yelling at his friend because he didn't come to the show. And Steven and all his buddies were just having the best time. Bunch of his friends like the song Good Guys Wear Black. When they're at the gym, they put that on and work out to it. So I dedicated that song to him. And anybody that was there saw how amazing it was. It was a magical night for me for a million reasons. And, you know, there's me and Steven in the dressing room post-show. And, you know, I did a post about this, but just for context, I'm not that small, I don't think. I'm 6 foot, about 210, 215. I have pretty big arms. I look like a little skinny bitch next to my son. You know, and it's so crazy because this is the same kid that, you know, I changed his diaper and held his hand when we crossed the street. And now, you know, in the last few years, as he became a man in his late teens and early 20s, he's big, you know, and I'm so proud of him. He's so smart along with his sister. But yeah, that's my son. And as big of a guy as I am, I look like a little skinny twig next to him. So, and you got to meet him as well. So.
Yeah, very, very well spoken. I think I remember saying, I'm like, shit, Steven, when I talk to you, I feel like I'm talking to the inventor of Scrabble. Like he uses all these big words.
Right.
He seems, you know, and I follow him on social media, so I know what he does on Instagram.
Right.
He seems to be a very deep thinker and very philosophical.
Right.
And I'll just say, like, man, I mean, that was a special moment because I was right up front at the concert, and to have your son come up and for you to be able to go from rocking to talking to your son and telling the crowd how much you love your son was a very special moment, and anybody who's a dad could recognize how important that was. And man, so that was, it was phenomenal.
Now you
So
got me all fucked up.
yeah, yeah. Somebody's gonna be in the comments going, "Here come the waterworks," because I fuck. This ain't gonna be a down episode. I, you know, I did 3 lives this week, and I got emotional in 2 of them, and I'll recap. And I apologize if some of the stuff that we talk about today I did talk about in the lives. I was just trying to create content while I was there, and my goal with the lives this week was to bring people on the
You're
trip.
frozen, Anthony. You're frozen, and it's not coming back. So you might want to
Fuck me.
pop
Here we
in and
go.
out real quick. Fuck. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Hair Metal Guru, Hair Metal Chaos.
Am I back in
You're
here?
back. You're back. And,
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
you know, some things we're older now. At least me, I'm an emotional guy, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. And sometimes that comes out. You know, I guess when I was younger, it came out in anger. I don't have the anger I used to. I'm a little bit more soft, you know. But yes, being with everybody and meeting you, and ultimately having my son there was just such an awesome time, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we'll get into it. I have a couple of comments starred, and then I would just like to go into, let's talk about Tuesday, Hair Metal Chaos Live. We'll go into the rest of the week. We'll get comments, ask comments about whatever you want. I mean, about the week, try to keep them stuff that's, you know, appropriate and shit. But, like we'll go into and what it's like, playing at the whiskey and what it was like for me and stuff about Tuff and getting guys together. Like I was interested, Dougie Manross, their guitar. What the fuck?
I'm trying to put trying to put a picture of Steven because you can't really. Okay, there we go.
Oh, there's a little. Yep. How old is he there?
I don't know, probably like 3 or 4. But I
Right.
got a million photos on the walls up here and over here, and yeah, it's crazy. And you got 2 kids. It's crazy to know how and anybody out here that has kids, and I'm sure a lot of our people watching here, they know what it's like to have a 2 or a 3 or a 5-year-old, and now they're 25 or 30.
Yep. And I won't go into this, but I've told you, my son is 19. He lives a block from me. I see him all the time. My daughter is 30. We don't have a great relationship. I hope that we do one day, but I think, when she was younger, I was drinking, then I was gone in the military, and then me and her mom split up. So that's one thing that I hope one day I'll be able to fix. So I know,
Right.
like I said, it was important for you to have your son for the first time ever see you play. I mean, that's a
Right.
big moment for a dad. I'm gonna get to a couple of comments. I got a couple of super chats. No, we won't. We do not just answer super chats. So we always do answer super chats, but we try to answer other things as well. So, but we really do appreciate, like all the stuff that we do. Like Stevie's Slaughter Quiet Riot concert gets canceled. You can't, that costs money. So, we're always appreciative of anybody who wants to help us out. But whether you do or not, you're awesome just for being here and watching. Donnie 190 grain Ratliff, man, that guy is here all the time. And thank you. He said, glad you made it home from LA still sober. And are you going to TEDx in Fargo Thursday to see Alex Van Halen and David Lee Roth? Alex Van Halen and David Lee Roth are going to be in Fargo Thursday. So I
That's
hope
right.
to.
I just saw that. So that's in your hood. You should definitely go to that because
Yes.
that would be an interesting.
you'll if you're gonna be there, you'll be able to probably do something even that night, and it'll probably
Yeah.
do an update on the Guru channel.
Yeah. So that is the plan. I've never been to one of these TEDx things. I know they hold them all the time in Fargo. So yeah, if I could, and I think it's their first time being together in quite a while. So yeah, hopefully I can do that. Donnie 190 Grain Ratliff. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Here, let's move on to the next one. Here's another super chat. Thank you. Twiggy Jimmy says, "Hey Guru and Stevie, it was nice to meet you and Jeremy and spending time. It's nice to meet you and Jeremy and spending time with Lisa and I. You guys are some of the coolest guys I've ever met in a long time. Thank you for all that you do for rock and roll and much love, man. It was great to meet you guys. I met so many people that you know, like I'm not used to walking into places and being like, "Hey, can I get my picture taken with you?" I'm like, "Are you shitting me?" I'm like, I would always pull out my phone and go, "Can I get my picture taken with you?" I'm like, it's still pretty shocking. So anybody who it's a thrill. It's a thrill when somebody pulls out a camera and says, "Can I get my picture taken with you?" I'm like,
Let me say this too. Something you told me, and I don't think you've mentioned this yet, unless you did when I ran in the other room. You got recognized before you got on the airplane.
yeah.
You tell everybody what happened when you went.
So
to the
here,
airport.
I think I got it. I was going in Fargo. I was going through TSA, and let's see if I can find this picture. And it's like 4 a.m, and this guy. See if I got this image here. Goes, "Hey man, love the show," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "It's still too early," and he goes, "Yeah, I love the show," and I'm like, "No shit." I go, so I said, "Can I?" I asked him, I said, "Can I take my picture with you?" I said, "Because that's so cool." And he goes, "Well, I'm probably not supposed to, but I also won't stop you." So he didn't maybe he thought he had to have his work face on, but that's
Right.
at TSA in Fargo at like 4:30 in the morning or whatever time it was. And that guy was like, "Hey, I love the show." So it was wild. It was the first time I think I'd been recognized I mean, I have been recognized before, but anyway, that was wild on the way.
You get recognized every time you go to a concert a bunch,
Right.
but this is obviously like walking into the airport wasn't probably something you expected. I mean, if the guy would have been a fan wearing a Warrant shirt, you'd be like, okay, I get it. He's a Warrant fan. But when you see the security guard go, "Hey, dude,
Totally.
come here. I like your show. Dude, I'm a fan." And you're like, what? That's
Totally.
great. I love that for you. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was wild. And so Twiggy, man, thank you for that. I got a couple more. Parlock, was it really $25 for a burger at the Rainbow Bar and Grill? I don't remember that. I thought it was pretty reasonable. I had chicken wings. They were like $15. I thought it was similar. So I'm just doing that because I want to, we'll shout out the Rainbow coming up here in a minute. But anyway, I thought the Rainbow was pretty reasonable. And Stevie, you might be able to update because we are talking about this. And so I'll let you decide how far you want to go into it. But Kevin Minton, who is always watching is awesome, says, "We all need some merch." So there is talk. Stevie, you want to answer that?
Well, I don't have any information to say we have a date or a time, but
No.
there's stuff in the works, and we've already had a bunch of samples done with from Jason from Laser Engrave. He made us dog tags, wristbands, patches, beanies, all kinds of different bracelets for girls, and
Keep going.
You have a bunch of stuff there. So yeah, Jason actually has been a friend of ours forever. He does stuff for all kinds of bands. If you guys find him, it's Jason Mute, MEUNDT.
DT. MEUDT.
I can't spell his name. I should call my son. He'll figure it out. But either way, Jason does a ton of stuff for a ton of bands. I've been using him forever for Tuff and Sludge. And I know Allison at Metal Babe Mayhem uses them. All kinds of bands. I mean, just go to his page and go into the photos. You'll see everything he's done for every band a ton of bands, But either way, Jason reached out to me, a couple weeks ago. He said, "Hey, I'm going to make some stuff for Anthony.
And I told him, shh, don't say anything. I'm going to give you some extra money, up the ante on that package and send it to me. And I'm going to surprise him with it at the Rainbow, which I did. And we gave out stuff at the Rainbow. We gave out stuff at the Whiskey. We gave out stuff at the VIP party. And Anthony went home with a bag of stuff. Jeremy went home with a bag of stuff. I got some stuff. And there's going to be more coming along with swag. And we're going to do hair metal chaos stuff. And Anthony's also going to have his own stuff for Hair Metal Guru. But we're going to have a separate store for all of our related stuff that we do together. And it's going to be coming. Not in a week, but it'll be in the next couple of months. And it's going to be cool stuff. And we can't wait for you guys to check it out.
We just had creeped over 300 people in here. That's amazing.
Awesome.
You know, for just being back home, you know, we don't have a special guest we will talk about because I think special guests will become a pretty regular part of the show. But with us just getting done with this week, we just decided to recap. Like, here's the Guru and Rachelle. I didn't pull out a thing. It says Hair Metal Chaos dog tags. I have bracelets. I have these two leather bracelets, a Chaos one, a Guru one. I've showed this before. I'm going to need to get some more of these because I gave one to Todd Chase. And I meant to give you one. And I was like, fuck, I gave it to Todd Chase and Michael Lean. But the
Awesome.
glassware, there is so much... like koozies, everything from Jason Mute, and every time, like he's sent unbelievable stuff, and he's always prompt. He's super nice. So anyway, merch is coming. Merch is coming.
It's coming.
We get a couple more of these. Lady SRM. I don't know who this is, but she says Stevie has the most amazing and beautiful girlfriend in the world. Stevie, that's where you chime in and go, that's right. I think I have a picture of me and Stephanie in here.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
Where is that
She's
shit?
the most amazing and beautiful girlfriend in the universe. She is. Stephanie's awesome. And she, you guys had a great time hanging out, right?
Oh, totally.
And she has a million friends, and she grew up here, so she's been friends with a lot of these people in the scene forever. And her and I were friends forever. We were friends for literally 25 years, and I always used to see her out. And to be honest, I was kind of a little intimidated to go up to her because I thought she was going to blow me off, and she probably would have, because she kind of was a little bit, what, who, you know. But at some point, I convinced her to go on a date. But we were hanging out for several weeks, several months. She wouldn't even kiss me. So she made me chase for a while and wait around. And I love Stephanie, though. She's so awesome. And never mind her beauty. Her guts are so good. Her heart is so full. She is such a good human. And she's made me a better person. And she's awesome. She helps make me a better person every day.
I just got a text from Stephanie. Apparently she knows that person. So I think it's Stephanie's sister. But I'll and this might turn into a love fest, you guys. I'm just you know, I can't get done with the week that happened with meeting and hanging out with all of these people and not have this become a love fest. So if you're like, dude, just talk about hair metal and get away from that shit, then today's episode probably isn't for you, because Stephanie has been she texted me the other day, and she's just all about we just want to see you succeed. You know, she's always like if she's like, because she knows a lot of people. She lives in LA. She knew a lot of people on the scene. She's already reaching out to friends of hers and saying, hey, I have this friend. He does a show with Stevie. Let me know if you would consider doing an interview with
Mhm.
him.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, you do that all the time.
Right.
And you know, like I'm a guy from Fargo. I don't have all these connections and I'm getting them, but you and Stephanie go out of your way and do things that you don't have to do to help me succeed. And so I love Stephanie, and she was about, like, whenever I saw her, was making sure that I was okay, and
Right.
is there anything you need? And so those are the kind of people I want to separate. And she's pretty hot. So Stevie, good job. Good job, Stevie. Way to go. Way to
Yeah,
go.
she's absolutely awesome, and yeah, so just so many friends, and that's what it's all about. You know, we everyone wants to have a good time. We're all there to have a good time, to be happy, to prop each other up, support each other in everything we do. And you're somebody that's kind of new to our squad, per se, as Steven would say, my son. Bro,
Yeah.
this is my squad, you know. Um, but and my son is actually very similar to that. He's very good natured. He's a good person, and all of his friends and his sister, they have a very diverse mix of friends. You know, they both go to UC Berkeley, where there's all kinds of super intelligent kids from all over the planet. All of their friends are from a million different countries. And their circle's not just this little small thing. They have a ton of different friends. You saw that in meeting some of his friends that came out. His two
Mhm.
friends that were so amazing was the two Nigerian brothers, Wahad and Gafar. They're both 6'5". You know, they just were the light of the room. They were so excited. They're like, "This is fire, my friend," you know, with the African accents, and just and his friend Parsa, who used to live with, Sawyer, his friend Alex, who's a girl wrestler, who went to high school with her. Like, I used to give her a ride home from school when she was 14 years old with Steven and
Mhm.
and it's funny. I was actually messaging with Robbie Crane yesterday, and he was bummed out because he had to go and play some shows over the weekend. And all of these people Robbie was part of our clique from the beginning, and he knows all these people, and we're all part of the same family, per se, on the scene. He's like, "Dude, I'm so bummed I missed that," because he saw the pictures of everybody, with
Right.
all these old roommates. And this was Michael's first show back in LA,
Yeah.
and it's his first show back with me and Todd and Michael on the same stage since 1991. So we did 2 shows in Ohio. We did 3 on the cruise. That's 5. And we did this 2. So we've done 7 shows this year. And before that, the last time me, Michael, and Todd were on the same stage was December of 1991 on the last show of the What Comes Around Goes Around tour in Salt Lake City. And then Todd left the band a couple weeks later. So
Right.
it was full circle, and just so many good moments.
Yeah. That's awesome. Let's get through a few more of these questions. Can you share any cool rat stories that Blotzer shared with you? Uh, and I don't. It's not that I'm going, oh, I can't share anything. I will say we talked a little bit about Janie Lane and
Mhm.
the album that they did, that was Saints of the Underground with Blotzer. He held court. Me and Jeremy he held court. But I didn't really sit and just go, "Hey, tell me about Rat." I didn't want to do that, So if he mentioned stuff about Rat, I went with it. I know there was Rat talk, you know. It was interesting. He drove us to lunch, and he had a Tesla, and it was self-driving. So all I was
Right.
like, Blotzer is sitting there with his foot up, going like this, and I'm like, dude.
Right.
So anyway, I'd never been in a self-driving car before. I kind of flipped my shit doing that. So it was awesome, and maybe we'll get into that a little bit more. But I appreciate the question. I like right off. He showed me his like platinum albums and shit. And when I put out, I hope I'm not froze right now. Uh,
You're
when
back.
uh, when I when, when I put out video, am I good now, Stevie?
You're good.
Okay. when I put out videos, which will be coming up. I'm not putting out recap videos this week, but when I put out videos, you'll see pictures of Blotzer's platinum albums and stuff. I have a question ready for this. Chrissy says, would love to know what Charlie's favorite band is. Well, her favorite band is Cats in Boots, and her favorite album is Dog Eat Dog by Warrant. Charlie, here. Yeah, tell everybody who your favorite band is, because you're very famous. Got to get over here on YouTube, and you're so pretty. Anyway, let's move on to a couple more, and then we'll get into kind of recapping the week. Zachary Attackery. Did Blotzer put blotzarella cheese in his lasagna? I don't know why I started that, but I thought that was funny. No.
Mozzarella.
Yeah. Good thing. Oh, yeah, Stevie. Good thing they're not in this. This is when we were getting all talking about how each other is so awesome. Good thing they're not in the same room. They would start making out.
You
Yeah,
know who that
haha.
is? You know who that
Who?
is?
Oh, it's Mark Weiss.
That's
Shit,
Mark Weiss.
It is. Mark Weiss.
The wise guy, Mark Wise, is in the
That's
house.
right. That's right. And when we talk about the rainbow, it was pretty cool when Stevie's shit wasn't working, so we decided to end up sitting beside each other. I think that was a huge part of what made the Hair Metal Chaos Live at the Rainbow pretty epic. Was instead of being 6 feet apart, we actually sat beside each other, and I thought that made it even better.
And while we
Here's a
mention
couple-
Mark, let's just quick throw this up just again for anybody that
That's
doesn't
right.
know. This is the Decade That Rocked book, which is amazing.
Mine is over here
Literally-
somewhere.
Look how thick. It's phone book thick. And this could put somebody into a coma. It's so heavy. It's so full, and it's amazing. That's his book, which you can buy online, or the magazine that he started. It's called Rocked, and
Yep.
there's a few different issues, probably 5 or 6 issues, maybe.
Yep.
And it's just full of all kinds of old stuff. But most importantly, there are certain celebrities that rock this magazine.
Look at that hair. Holy shit.
That's the band Outside Gazzari's on Sunset
wow.
Strip. That's literally in front of Gazzari's.
Oh, I forgot about that pic.
This is early 1990. So I'm 24 here. This was the photo. We did a studio session, and then Mark did us out on the streets too. So we did stuff on Sunset Boulevard. We did stuff on Hollywood Boulevard. And Mark is, as many people know, when you see that name, Weiss, W-E-I-S-S, or Wise Guy, that's Mark Weiss. In my ideals, in my opinion, Mark is on the Mount Rushmore of rock photographers. He's up there with Niels Lozauer,
Right.
Niels the West Coast guy. Mark is an East Coast guy, So Mark is awesome. And we had him as a guest a few weeks ago. If anybody remembers, he tuned in, and he's got a ton of cool stuff. So Google him, Mark Weiss, go to his site. He's got killer old shots. You can buy prints of everything. From Ozzy to Motley to you name it. Bon Jovi is a teenager. He was shooting him when he was in local bands. So Mark's awesome.
The Decade That Rocked, you will not regret that purchase. There are so many epic photos you've never seen before.
Awesome.
Skid Row completely glammed out. Unbelievable shit. Okay. Thank you for being here, Mark. That's so cool. I started this because here's somebody talking about the online community. That's why we stay. We were talking about the friendships. You were talking about the friends. Guru and the other guys are real dudes, which is awesome. Stevie is awesome. Hell, we are all awesome. Love this online community. I feel like you go to a show, like when I was at the Whiskey, I felt like I was as safe as in my mother's arms. You're like it's like we've talked about. You see somebody wearing a band shirt that you like, and you're like, I know you. You and I are good with each other. Like all the people that hang out and that love this stuff, I feel like we're all very supportive of each other. Everybody that I've met through this channel has been awesome. So yes, you are right. This online community is amazing.
And you know what? Let's do this too.
Yeah.
How about the staff at the Rainbow Bar and Grill and the Whiskey a Go-Go? Now,
Yeah.
for those that don't know, they're owned by the same family. Mario Maglieri is one of the true godfathers of the Sunset Strip. Him, Bill Gazzari, Doug Weston, who had the Troubadour. Obviously, Bill Gazzari was running Gazzari's. I think it's Lou Adler had the Roxy. And Mario, those guys were the OG gangsters in the 50s and 60s that started these clubs. And then at some point, Mario had passed away, and his son, Michael Maglieri, took over. And Michael sadly had a heart attack and died not too long ago, maybe 6 or 8 years ago or something like that. So then his son, Mikey Jr., they call him Big Mike, though, because he's a tall guy, big guy. He now he's the owner of the Whiskey and the Rainbow. I asked Jake Perry, house agent at the Whiskey, about us doing our live there. Within 30 minutes, done, cleared. Let me check with the boss. Big Mike, done. We went. Big Mike was there. They treated us great from the second we showed up, whatever we want. And the same goes with the Whiskey. And not only, the fans that get to see it, you obviously got to we not only get to go up in the dressing room, but then they had the offices open during the day. So we walked through the offices and then the hallways that lead to the main offices, which the public doesn't get to see. And you saw that, Anthony. You saw those rare black and white photos of Jim Morrison on the stage at the Whiskey, of David Lee Roth in like 1974 or 75, Motley Crue in 1981. Photos that have never been seen before that are on the wall, big posters. Guns N' Roses, just some, epic photos. Just line those upstairs offices, and everybody there, the bartenders, the staff, the waitresses, they treated us like gold. They treated Anthony like gold. They just gave us whatever we want. And the whole weekend was great. So shout out, if you ever go to the Whiskey or the Rainbow, show them some love. And as far as the price of burgers or pizza, it's worth it all day long.
Hell yes.
The Rainbow Bar and Grill is pretty much like going into a museum.
It is.
And it's free to walk in there. So if you pay $20 for a burger or $7 for, a beer, trust me, it's worth it. So
I went to a coffee place and paid $4 for a coffee like this. So I thought the Rainbow was pretty reasonable for.
Right.
Hey, she needs to go potty and everything. So I'm gonna
Take her.
But I'm gonna show this comment because this one's for you. And thank you, the Anthony 5150. Stevie, anything planned for your 40 years with Tuff? And I can hear you as I'm doing this.
Well, it's funny you say that, and like usual, there are some things that we're kind of working on, but nothing we're going to talk about yet. Obviously, it's July of 2026. Next summer will be the 40th anniversary of me joining the band. Technically, July 11th would be the exact date. August 22nd or 25th, I'd have to look again, was our first show at the Roxy. So some things will happen next year. As a matter of fact, there's going to be a few things happening later in the year. But getting past our initial shows in Ohio, the cruise, and then this little summer plan, now I don't have anything for a few months until I go to Brazil. But we're working on a few things, and next year we will definitely be celebrating 40 years of Tuff. But what we're going to do exactly and how we're going to do it, we can't divulge all that information yet. But we look forward to it. Michael's having a blast. Todd's having a blast. I'm having a blast. We have more love and respect for each other than we've ever had. And we're doing this first and foremost because we love it and it's fun and celebrating with our fans. Nobody's getting rich off of Tuff, and no, we can't, we're not going to go do world tours and play, 50 or 75 shows a year. But if we can play 10 or 15 or 20, we'll do it. Obviously, we're on the cruise next year. The VIP event we did on last Friday night was awesome. That was
Oh.
so cool. And the people that came, how many people were there? 50, 60, something like that.
Yeah, 50 people,
Um,
60.
and then we had some of our friends stop by, and we sold tickets to a select amount of fans who bought them. I think there was like 25 fans that got to buy a ticket and come, and then the rest was all our family and VIPs and stuff like that. And it was awesome. It was so fun. The whole week was awesome. There's only three drawbacks. One, it's fucking hotter than fuck.
Oh, Jesus.
Sweating to death. It's like 100 degrees and humid. Two, that sinkhole that happened in the middle of Sunset Boulevard, 3 blocks east of the Whiskey, which kind of made it a little bit of a hassle to get up and down the street. And the third and the thing that stands out the most that could have been better is we needed more time.
Yeah.
You only have so much time. When the Whiskey opens the door and then everyone starts coming in, now it's 8 or 9 o'clock, between everyone walking in the door and us playing and then the show being over and everyone going home, we only have 4 or 5 hours or less. And everyone's like, we're at the Rainbow and come over here and do this and do that. And it's just so hard. You can only do so much in one time. You're getting dragged a million different ways. So that's the only disappointing part, is that there's not more time. It's like a show. When we talk about a meet and greet or a band that charges for a meet and greet, why it might be a lot of money, there's not a lot of time for the band. If Motley Crue plays a show in front of 5,000 people, they can't talk to everybody. Even if Tuff plays a show in front of 250 people, we can't talk to everybody.
Yep.
I mean, we could. Hi. But if you want to sit and talk to somebody for 1 minute, and you did that for, say, 240 people, you'd have to spend several hours. We'd be there till 6 o'clock the next morning. It's literally impossible. And trust me, I'd love to talk to every person. I'd love to hang out and sit at a table and eat pizza for 30 minutes and answer a million of those questions. But that's the only drawback, is that you're only limited as to how much time. It's just like a family reunion or a high school reunion. When you go back and you suddenly run into 200 people that you haven't seen in 30 years, you only get so much time that night or that afternoon or that weekend, and then it's all over and everyone's got to go back to work. So,
right.
Stuff.
The Rainbow was amazing. Here's a picture of me and Stevie. If you've never been to the Rainbow, all of these images that are behind us are all over. There's platinum records. There's obscure bands. The booth we're sitting in there is like the Guns N' Roses booth.
That's the one that they're sitting in during November rain.
Right.
When they're all drinking and stuff, they're all in that booth. That's where they shot November Rain, on that end of the Rainbow.
So I walked around and tried to film some stuff that'll come out in a video, but that's one of the iconic places of the Sunset Strip. Not that I was there, but just from my reading about it and being obsessed with it, is that everybody used to hang out at the Rainbow and go to shows after that, and then so it was amazing being there, and they couldn't have treated us better. And I went back a couple different times during the week. We ate there on my last day. One of the bartenders, her name is Lisa, sat and told us, and I recorded it, a story about meeting Slash when she was working. Her boyfriend, James, worked at the Rainbow, and now he's kind of an assistant manager at the Whiskey because they're both owned by the same person. So he kind of took us around and told some stories. Every time I go to LA, there would be no way that I would not go to the Rainbow, because it's just iconic when you think of this music. So I'm going to get through a couple more questions, and then we'll move on to maybe talking about your rehearsal day, and then the Whiskey day on Thursday. So here's let's see, what do we got? Here's a super chat. Thank you guys for the super chats. It really, it just helps us to get by. I always tell people like hopefully one day I can make a living doing the hair metal guru. So anybody who helps us with that is awesome. And again, whether you super chat or not, but we do really appreciate it. So Stephanie Mandel says, love you both. Stevie a little more. Oh, real cool. Oh, I thought everyone be treated equally. No, Stevie a little bit more. Best week ever. Shout out to my sister Soro. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Who's
Soro.
watching? Soro, who's watching too. Stephanie, you're the best. Thank you for everything you have done for me, and for you're so encouraging about Stevie and myself. I kind of look at you like a big sister, and like you're kind of that older sister. Not that you're older, but that sister who's looking out for me. I'm kind of
She
like the little
she
brother there.
she is older than you
She is
by a
older than
lot.
me. So Stephanie, thank you. You're awesome. So
Hi,
uh
Soro. Hi, Soro. I hope you're doing good.
hi Saro, nice to meet you. I must not have met she must not have been around last week, or maybe she doesn't live
No,
in LA.
no,
Okay.
she wasn't at the show.
Okay. Here's another one, and then we're going to get into talking about the week. Parlock 480. Little off topic, but were you guys wrestling fans back in the day? No, but one of my favorite movies of all time is Vision Quest with Matthew Modine, the high school wrestling movie. Shut the fuck up. I love
Get
that
rid of
movie.
that picture. Get
Oh,
rid
yeah.
of that picture.
Okay. I thought you were saying, okay. Yes. So, okay, Stevie, go ahead.
Me, a wrestling fan? Do I look like Baron von Raschke?
I remember him. The Claw.
The Claw. Yeah. As a kid, I watched it when it was probably in the 70s more than anything. The Crusher, Nick Bockwinkel, jumping Jim Bronzell, Vern Gagne, Greg Gagne, of course Andre the Giant. What a legend! Baron von Raschke, Ivan Putski, Larry the Axe Henning. Did I say the Crusher already? Dusty Rhodes. So yeah, I was a huge wrestling fan as a little kid in the 70s, like between 5 and maybe 12 or 15. But by the middle of the 80s, by the time MTV kind of came around, I kind of went away from wrestling. I didn't pay
Yeah.
attention as much. I was locked into MTV a lot more and skateboarding as well. But yeah, I watched wrestling as a kid, loved it.
I didn't. I I liked Rocky movies. I loved rock, but I never got into wrestling. So thank you for that. Thank you for that super chat. That's super nice of you guys. Here's a
Speaking of
couple more, and then
wrestling, speaking of wrestling, shout out to Chris Jericho and
there you
Fozzy.
go.
Chris is a good guy.
Yes.
I've met Chris a couple times. Him and I message here and there online. Fozzy, something he started as a side project 20 plus years ago, and we covered them on Sludge. And him and his guitar player, they've been slamming it the whole way, record after record, kept going, playing shows bigger and bigger. Then the Judas song hit. Now they're playing to way bigger crowds, and he's a multi-level guy. I mean, he's got his wrestling career, he's got his music career, he's got his podcast, and his hardworking guy, good guy. Shout out to Chris and Fozzy. Speaking of wrestlers, Chris is a good guy.
And he's never hid his love for hair metal. I don't know much about
Nope.
wrestling, but
Loves it.
I when I started hearing that he loved hair metal, I'm like, dude, you're automatically my favorite wrestler. So
Yeah.
that's
Big
awesome.
fan of music. Big fan.
Okay. Bergie from North Dakota says, welcome back to ND. Here's $10 for the James Brown of hair metal. Am I the James Brown of hair metal? I don't. Is that what he's saying? Bergie, you're the man. Man, we went to a concert together last year. I hope you get down to North Dakota and we get to do more stuff. So that's really cool of you, and I hope we get to hang out again. He lives about 4 hours from me in North Dakota, but super nice guy.
Nice.
Ryan McClusker, I'm sure your sons are proud of their dads. No doubt seeing Steven the other day, Steven was very proud of his dad. I hope my son looks at me the way Steven looked at Stevie the other day. It was awesome. It was awesome. Thank you for that. Chris Eric Thompson, Guru Stevie, thanks for everything you do. I want to get a Tuff shirt and a copy of Religious Fix. Well, you should go to metalsludge.tv and you can get all sorts of Tuff merch. And maybe I should but go there and support Stevie because man, the guy's a force for good in this music. And so
It's all there. Go to the Metal Sludge site and check the tab menu where it says store, or any of the banners that say store, and click on them, or click on any one of the banners that advertise vinyl or any product, and that'll take you into the store. And then you can surf the menu on the left. There's a million options. I think there's well over 200 items in there. Tons of shirts, CDs, and not just Tuff stuff. You got other bands in there as well. Wild Side, Stevie James, formerly of Tiger Tails, Veins of Jenna, all my solo stuff. There's a bunch of stuff, and swag, and as everybody as we'll give a shout out in the past that ordered. I always throw some extra goodies in there. You know, I know that sounds a little goofy. You know, goodies, whatever. But you know, I'll put in some whatever you order, you're going to get a little bit extra somehow, some way.
yes, he's notorious. People message me all the time. They go, Guru, if you talk to Stevie, tell him I got an extra CD and tell him, you know, thank you if they reach out to me. So happens all the time. Very cool. Eric Thompson, thank you. That's kick ass. I got two more, or almost done with the super chats, and then we'll move on. And thank you guys so much. Seriously. Ken Pease, I'm a single father to an autistic son. He's 25, but mostly nonverbal. But when I play rock music, he bobs his head like a true rocker. He's
Awesome.
definitely my world. Life isn't always easy, but music gets us through. Man, that's amazing.
I know that guy.
Okay. Ken Pease.
He's 100% ordered for me. Am I right, Ken? I know your name because I'm almost positive. I won't put up his details. I'm going to just check my phone.
Yeah.
And check my email history. I'm positive he's ordered from me, and we're friends online. I'm pretty sure too.
I taught for 12 years, and I think I've said this, one of my favorite projects ever was having my students work with the mentally disabled, kids. We did a project, and it was so awesome seeing them get to know, these 13 and 14-year-old kids who and not that autistic kids are this way, but that were mentally 3 or 4 years old, and to see them become not afraid of these people, but to become close to them. So it sounds awesome that your son loves rock and roll, and you sound like a great father for talking about him this way. So that's awesome, man.
Hey, Ken, shout out Brockton, Massachusetts, dude. That's where he's from.
Awesome. And we got Pastor Stephen Furtick, 8131. Wow, thank you. You all give me something to look forward to between sermons and inspire me to create. Don't stop. You're just getting started.
Awesome.
So I'll say this. When we were at the whiskey, and there was a guy, and obviously I'm going to forget his name. I was calling him Leather Wolf guy. He was wearing a Leather Wolf shirt. Right. And he was there by himself. I walked by. He's like, Guru. I sit down and I'm like looking around. I'm like assuming whoever he's with is probably at the bathroom. I'm like, who are you with? And he's like, by myself. And I'm like, and he traveled like a long ways. And I'm like, you came here by yourself? And he's like, yeah, I wanted to see you and Stevie. And I'm like, and I go, that's amazing that you came by yourself. And he goes, you know what? He goes, you said once in an episode that we're getting to the age where we need to start doing the stuff that we want to do, or one day it's going to get too late. Right. And he goes, I decided to start doing stuff. And I was like, man, and shit. And I know I have his picture in here somewhere, but I was just floored. Number one, that I would say something and somebody would take it to heart like that. That was amazing. And just that, we, Stevie, me and you, inspire people like this pastor here. I hope I never take that for granted, because that just blows me away.
And there was people that came there's a bunch of people that came for the whole week. And that's why we put a lot of this together. And that's also why the whiskey will put certain shows together,
like they're going to do in December. We'll talk about that a little bit later, where they put just a string of killer shows together. We obviously had our planned podcast live on Tuesday from the Rainbow last week. Wednesday, we had the rehearsal. Thursday was the whiskey. Friday was supposed to be Anaheim, but we obviously pivoted and we did the private event showcase. And at the end of the day, I met people that were from San Diego, a bunch of people from San Diego. I met some people from Phoenix. I met some people from Vegas. Obviously, a bunch of people that I knew were coming in from Florida, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Texas. There was a girl and her mother that drove from Missouri to be there, you know, and went to a couple events. There was a guy that came in from Omaha. He told me, I saw you at the Ranch Bowl in 1991. And well, he said he was from Omaha. And before he could say it, I go, Ranch Bowl. He goes, that's it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
I mean, there was people from Quebec, Canada. There was people that came in from a lot of different places. And perhaps maybe they weren't just there to see Tuff or just to see you, but Steelheart played on the Friday night.
Yep.
Obviously, Tommy London had his event, which had some bands. Chad Stewart had an all-star group that also, then they had Fire and Ice play that John Tora was in town. John came to the whiskey that night. So we had people from a whole bunch of different places. Obviously, my son and all his friends drove down from UC Berkeley, and having those people come, even if it's for part-time to spend hanging out with me or to hang out with Guru, we're so thankful. Yeah, I think that's the guy. He was at the whiskey upstairs, and then he was hanging out the next day.
Yep.
I remember
Yep. That's the guy who was, and so that inspired me. That here, this guy's like,
I think he's from Omaha. I think that's the guy who's from Omaha. Mm-hmm.
And I'll point out, here's this couple. Stevie, you'll remember this couple because they had you sign something pretty cool. Where the fuck is it? This couple had a Tuff skateboard,
right,
that you signed, and they traveled. And I thought they were from Wyoming. And if you see that picture, they have like a hair metal guru lunchbox.
Which, I
and
saw that. That's amazing.
This like guitar protector. They had me, and I was like, holy shit. Like that they traveled this far, obviously to see you and just see me, I guess. Still kind of wild. But yeah, Dave, and now I forgot his wife's name, but Dave, you and your wife were so nice. It was so awesome meeting you guys. That was crazy that these people are coming from all over, because of this community. So, couple more, and then we're gonna I think talk about a little bit about the rehearsal, and then the whiskey show, which was the big night. That was the big night. Sofa King just donated, man. Thank you so much. That's badass. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
And Patrick Reeves, who, one of my best friends, we are going to Monsters on the Mountain in 3 weeks. So if you're going to be in the Tennessee area, and by the way, we do have over 300 people. 300 people, that's amazing. Patrick says, can Stevie talk about any bands that reached out to him over the years besides Poison that asked about his availability or interest in joining? Love you both, Patrick. You're the man. I love you too, man.
Well, I think about it. I don't think anybody ever did. Honestly, I don't think they did. But I haven't ever went into complete details on this, but Poison did. Bobby Dahl actually reached out to me in 2006. It was an initial phone call that came in from Kendra Jade, who I had been friends with and dated a little bit. And people might remember she was in the adult industry, and she was, I think, made famous when she was on Stern and something related to, was it Jerry Springer or something like that? I think. Either way, Kendra had called me and said, the guys in Poison or Bobby Dahl or somebody wants to talk to you. And I thought she was goofing on me, but she wasn't. Then it was one of their assistants or a road manager, and then that phone call, and then that led to me talking with Bobby. But as far as other bands, not really. Not that I can remember. No, but I'm not bothered by that. I think that I'm I'm pretty demanding, I think, in how I present myself in a kind of setting. So if I came into somebody else's band, they'd want me to just be their singer. You just do this. And I'm a very hands-on guy and involved in a lot of aspects of what a band is
No.
presentation. so I don't think I would work well under those conditions always. I mean, Alex from Shameless at some point wanted me to sing for him and along with some other singers, and then said, "Hey, I want you to bring you over to Europe and do these tours in Germany and Amsterdam." And then that led to Spain and Italy and Belgium and, Prague and France and Sweden and Denmark and just a ton of places. But nobody wants me. I'm already a pain in the ass to deal with. So
That's true. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think you're a pain in the ass to work with. You've been awesome to work with for me. So
awesome.
Sophie King, this genre of music is coming back. I know I'm not alone when I say I can feel something in the air. Thank you both for leading the charge. I'll be honest. I hear a lot of people say that. And I think, a lot of people credit Metal Sludge and include me in that. And for whatever, I really, to whatever level it can come back, I don't know. But I just love that people are still talking about it, that people still want to go see Tuff shows at the Whiskey, which is what we're going to be talking about next. So that still is a thing. And a lot of our favorite bands, I just interviewed Stephen Sweet from Warrant. They're still out playing big shows. That's amazing. So, it'll never come back like it used to be, but damn it, it ain't underground yet. It ain't underground yet. And okay, so I do have some, but let's get into, you guys did a rehearsal. I walked in, you guys were playing. It was in Burbank. It was about a half a mile from my hotel. Me and Jeremy came in. Your buddy Schneid, who was there. We got a private Tuff show, which is unfucking real, and even a private show. It was hard for me not to kind of fanboy out because I'd never seen Tuff live. So you did that, and then it was the Whiskey. So I don't know what you want to go into, but like kind of take us through maybe the rehearsal and get into the Whiskey show.
Well, the rehearsal is just, us walking into a room and going through the songs, but, for you guys never being in one of those situations, I guess it was a little interesting to watch. Obviously, we started and stopped a few songs a few times. There was a few things we got to work out and smooth out some changes. And, back in the day, we used to do that 3 nights a week, 10 rehearsals a month, and then as you get closer to a show, you really start to fine tune it. But they flew into town the day before. Dougie's played with us a couple times, but Michael has never played a full show with Dougie. I think Dougie got up and jammed with us in Ohio when we just played those shows with Billy. And Dougie, Dougie and Billy are one of the same. They're so close. At some point, I think it was during the set where Billy just said, "I'm going to go get a drink." And Dougie was standing in the crowd. He said, "Dougie, get up here. You're playing," and he handed him the guitar. And Dougie got up and shredded I don't know, probably Good Guys Wear Black or something with us. But that was Michael's first time playing with Dougie and vice versa. And Dougie's great. He killed it. Michael played great. And Michael's taken a 30-plus year vacation. He's played really good for somebody that's barely played his drums in 30-some years. And I know he's had a drum kit and he messes around, but it's a totally different animal to play through a full set of 10, 12, 15 songs, hour and a half, and then get on stage and do it and have the gumption and that's a very physical instrument, and Michael, no spring chicken either. He's younger than me and Todd, but he's 58, so rehearsal is rehearsal. The show was great. We had a blast. The Whiskey, the sound system was killing. The monitors were great. The lighting was cool. Everybody said it sounded really good. We're all very hard on each other. I could go through each one of those songs and go, Chase dropped a note here. I screwed up the verse there. That was off. Dougie missed a cue here. Like, we could fine tune and pick apart everything. But 90% of the fans in the crowd are not going to see that. But it's the fine tuning, what a coach does with the team when they're playing football. And even though the receiver and the quarterback might have been on the same page and went 5 for 5 on those catches. There might have been one of those passes that the quarterback threw where instead of the receiver catching it here, he had to grab it over here. And when he comes to the sideline, the coach is telling the quarterback, don't throw it behind him. We don't want him reaching for it. We want it right here. That's kind of where we are with music. Like I could pick apart a lot of the things we did, including the live set. I've watched a couple of the videos and I was like, what did I do there? You know, or going flat on a vocal or just being out of breath and not being able to hit a note. But everybody said it sounded really good. They said that the VIP event sounded good. You know, Wednesday complimented on that. The guys in Wildside said the sound at the whiskey was killer. So you thought it was great, you know, and I'm stoked that our friends liked it, but there's always room for improvement. And, you know,
I said that I had never seen you before, but I've watched many videos live. And I also said, you know, somebody's going to say, well, you guys are buddies, so you're going to say it was good no matter what. I thought it was unfucking believable. And I, you know, here's me licking your balls, which you probably want me to do anyway. Just kidding. That I thought you were an amazing front man. Like it wasn't just that you sang. You gave your girlfriend a kiss. You told your son you loved him. You told everybody you had a big dick. You were funny as shit. You told cool stories. You interacted with the crowd. Like I thought seeing Jamie Lane and Sebastian Bach back in the day, I'm like, those guys, they were so sure of themselves and the crowd just ate up what they were saying. I felt the same way watching you that day. And vocally, I mean, you didn't miss notes. I didn't hear any fuck ups. Now, I did hear a couple fuck ups at the private party because it was obvious and you guys were kind of laughing about it. And it made it even a cool show. But you guys played what, I don't know, 12 songs. It was about an hour. And Jeremy and I haven't shout out Jeremy. Jeremy, my good teacher friend who appears on the channel, was with me. We were both like, that was unfucking believable. It was an amazing show. There are some clips on YouTube, but I thought you guys were awesome. So
thank you so much. It's, you know, it's good to be complimented. It's good to have a good show. And I knew that things were pretty clicking. But, you know, it's another thing, too, when you play in front of your peers, you know, knowing that Howie Simon or Wednesday 13 are standing 10 feet over there watching me, knowing that Drew and Mark and Jimmy from Wildside are right there, knowing that, you know, the whiskey staff is there. They see bands every night, you know, the sound man, whoever. So performing in front of fans and friends and family, that's one thing. But when you have industry types there that are a little bit more in tune with exactly what's going on and can kind of sniff out the good, bad, or the ugly, you know, that's why when we do the cruise as well, we always make sure we have a couple of warm-up shows before we get on the cruise. Because when you're playing on the cruise, there's 50 other bands. Times say four. There's 250 guys from bands. Sometimes there's guys in the band in some bands that are just on the cruise hanging out, not even playing, or guys that are jamming. So there's literally a few hundred professional, national and international recording artists from around the world that have sold millions of records and played dozens and hundreds and thousands of shows and all different levels. And they're watching you. So, and they're expert at what they do. Or some of them are, or a lot of them are. So you want to be on your. It's like being a football or basketball player. When it's the playoffs, you got to step it up even more. When the other teams are, you know, watching you and it's a 4th and goal, you want to be able to execute. So there's a little extra pressure.
by the way, Nikki Six. Hey, it's Nikki Six from Motley Crue is here. Just kidding. Says Guru loves being the back man to Rachelle's front man. Okay, whatever.
Okay,
I get the feeling. I get the feeling there's some sexual innuendo there, Nikki. Untrue. Tuff was amazing. There were many bands that night, so I just wanted to point out, like my first highlight of the night, besides being able to go upstairs backstage and in the dressing room with the guys in Tuff and fucking hang out and make a coffee and shit. was I got to introduce American Jet Set, and that
Awesome.
was my first time on stage. That was wild, and I'm glad I got to do that because it kind of warmed me up. Like, okay, because I ain't gonna lie, was I fucking? I don't think I sounded nervous. Was I a little bit like, holy shit? I'm going on stage at the Whiskey a Go Go where the Doors and Motley and everybody has played to introduce the band. Yes, it was a little much, but so I did that, and I'm not going to get emotional, but you guys, you had told me previously, hey, we're going to have you introduce us at the Whiskey,
Right.
and so I was like, fuck me. I've never seen Tuff. You guys, I've told the story many times about getting the cassette in '91. Loved the band. You and I become friends. We do all this stuff together. I get to announce your first, LA show in forever with three of the original guys playing. So anyway, I'm upstairs with you guys. We're talking, and I got my phone because I'm like, I got some things I want to say, so I can like glance at my phone,
Right.
and you guys are like, all right, well, make sure you keep it to about a minute, blah blah blah, and I'm like, fuck, I'm like, delete, 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 holy shit, and all this stuff. So anyway, I went out on stage. I handed out some merch while your entry song "Highway to Hell" was playing.
Mm-hmm.
The band is coming out, and Michael gives me the nod. I do my introduction. I think, I prepared it, like I had practiced it, did the introduction, but it was a surreal moment, and it was really special to walk off that stage, and you were standing to the side of the stage, and I'm like, and I've said this before, but 3 years ago, I start this channel. 3 years later, I'm on stage at the Whiskey a Go Go
Right.
introducing you guys. Like, are you kidding me? That is, and I said that when I introduced you guys. I said, dreams come true, man, because how I got here, I have no clue. But I walked off stage, I gave you a hug, and I said, I fucking love you, man. And you put your arm around me, you pointed at the crowd, and you said, look at those guys. They love you, and I love you too. And then you went out and destroyed that crowd. And I be honest, I went right to the front of the stage to rock out. But there were many times where I was just like, the whole moment of it, like I was like, I might have to go to the bathroom and like sob for a little bit because it was just, I couldn't believe that was me and that was my life. So you guys made a dream come true by letting me do that, and so I just wanted to for everybody that's here to say thank you because you know that was maybe the highlight of this was one of the best weeks of my entire life. I'm 53 years old, and that week in Los Angeles was one of the greatest weeks I've ever had. So thank you.
Well, you are very welcome, Anthony, and that's just the beginning for you. I know that you're going to have a lot more fun and a lot more reaction and a lot more recognition, in 3 weeks or 4 weeks when you go to the Monsters on the Mountain, and you're going to be there for the whole weekend and a lot of bands. And I mean, if you get noticed by TSA in the airport, when you show up at a rock show, for sure, but you earned it. You do this channel, you've contributed to the community in a good way, in a big way. And I obviously wanted to give you a little bit more of a platform to launch you a little bit further by covering your stuff on the Sludge. And then little by little, it's grown naturally. It's organically evolved to where we are, and nothing's forced. Nothing's contrived. There's no alternative motives from you or from me. We're doing our thing.
Yeah.
And hey, at the end of the day, this could all end tomorrow for me or you or
Yeah.
somebody watching. Life is fragile. Life is short. Love it, live it,
and leave it with no regrets. So like you said, and there's times when I went to Thailand for the first time, I wanted to go play Thailand for the longest time. I wanted to go to Asia. I'd never been there. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I literally just booked the ticket and I said, I'm going. And then I started contacting clubs through the internet. I found the Rock Pub in Bangkok. I found the Rock Factory in Pattaya. And at some point I said, I want to come and play. Here's what I can do. Can we work a deal? I see some tribute bands you have, Brownstone. They do 80s covers. And at some point, that friendship evolved into me. Now I played there multiple times. I played that club 3 times in Bangkok. I played the one in Pattaya 3 times. I've made a ton of friends over there. When I left all my merchandise with 2 guys named Shampoo and Snooker. They're now my friends. After the first time I left it, the second time I came back, I left it again. The third time I left it with them. There's something about building friendships, meeting people, and at some point there's a natural evolution or a trust. I feel that way about you. And I don't just speak for myself. Bobby Blotzer, and I'm not going to get into everything that happened with you guys personally or Ricky, but at some point after your first interview, Blotz and you started talking on the phone. He's calling you up. Hey, dude, what's up? And it wasn't about let's set up another interview. You guys were just talking about life. Ricky Rocket, hey, dude, here's my cell phone number. Call me whenever. Text me. Let's hang out. So the person that you are that I've now become friends with and has evolved over a year, and then the people that you've met because of me or affiliated with me, and some maybe because of me, some maybe not. But at some point now, guys that have, like you said, were on your walls, sold millions of records, you've listened to their records forever, are now guys that you went to their house. You've hung out with them. You went to dinner. You rode around in their car. And that says something. That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with Metal Sludge. It doesn't even have to do with your channel. It has to do with you as a person. You've touched them. You've made them appreciate you, and they've now welcomed you. You're in their group. You're in our group. You're part of our family.
I appreciate that. Not gonna cry. Fucking holding it together, but
there's more of that coming. And those are just a couple guys. You become friends with a whole bunch of people. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I did want to throw out that after your guys' set at the Whiskey, I did go over to the Viper Room and saw John Tora and his band Fire and Ice. They were fantastic. I met Tommy London and talked about having him come on the show. But you and I have been a supporter of John Tora. Charlotte LaRue, who I also met at the Tuff show.
Awesome.
In fact, she and I were headbanging. I'll get her picture up here. We were headbanging, listening to Tuff. She was amazing. So, we are going to try to do what we can do to give platforms to these younger people like John. They're both 20. Here's Charlotte LaRue.
This girl, I think I said it a week ago on the podcast. She has an absolutely mind-boggling voice.
Yeah.
Beyond what you can even imagine. I saw it in person, and it wasn't for one song. It wasn't for 2. It wasn't for 3. I watched her sing 2 sets with 2 different bands over the weekend, and every time she finished a song, the entire place, while she was playing, the whole place was just focused on her. And they roared when she got done. Her voice is unbelievable. Charlotte LaRue, LaRue. Google her, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to TikTok, go to YouTube, whatever. She's unbelievable. And I'm so glad you got to meet her. And John, obviously, as well. He came to the Whiskey. He was in the dressing room, and I think it was in the dressing room where they were both there. And I was like, John, Charlotte, John. And they had already kind of knew each other because I texted John a bunch of her videos, and I texted Charlotte a bunch of John's videos. And the irony, which I talked about this on stage, they're both 23. Their birthdays are both in February, and they were both born in 2003. They
Yep.
were born 5 days apart. She's a little 90-pound Southern California tiny little girl. He's this big, husky, Long Island, New York kid. They're polar opposites, but they're both killer singers. They're both awesome people. And like you said, to give them any platform and help expose them and bring them to where people can see them and hear about them, I'm all about it.
And I'll just point this out. I thought I had a picture here of me and John Torra,
Right.
but here is a picture of me and Joey, John Torra's dad, who
Awesome.
recognized me at the Fire and Ice show, and he came up and he said, "I just wanted to thank you for all you've done to help promote my son. You have no idea how much it means to me." And I was like, "Dude." I'm like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Can I take a picture with you?" We took pictures, and I'm like, "Man, it's a privilege to promote somebody that but that talented, that loves this music, that wants to keep it going." So anyway, that was the picture that I found. Me and John Torres' dad. So that was cool. So we get done. The next day, Friday, was the private party because the Quiet Riot Slaughter gig did not pan out or got moved to October. You're going to be gone, so that show can't happen for you guys. So we did a private party, and there was about 50, 60 people there. Obviously, a lot different event than the Whiskey. It was a little more laid back. Wednesday 13 was there. I'll find my picture with him, but it was just a really cool, fun night, and I met some amazing people there that I'm going to get pictures of. So you can say whatever you want about the private party.
Yeah, it was something that we decided to put together after the show with Slaughter and Quiet Riot got moved to October. Now, they offered us that show as well, but the date that Slaughter and Quiet Riot could do it, there was 3 dates offered. They couldn't do the other 2. They accepted this third one, and they went with Slaughter and Quiet Riot first because they're the 2 main bands on the bill. Then they came to us, the agency, and I just said, I can't do it. I'm going to be in Brazil on that exact night playing in Sao Paulo, and I have 4 or 5 shows. It's like a 12-day run. I'll be down in South America, so I can't do the show, or we can't. But we decided to move this, put together a little private event. We did it at a show, kind of a sound stage at a rehearsal studio over in Burbank. And we invited like 25 people bought tickets. And then we invited like another 25 of our close friends and family. And it was awesome. And obviously, like you said, you got to meet Howie Simon came down. Wednesday came down. The Huey sisters were there. A bunch of people, some other bands that were popping in and out. And it was cool for you guys to also be able to walk around that studio and see all the bands that have rehearsed there over the years. White Lion, Paradise, Taz, Warren, Kingdom Come, a ton of bands. There's just, Engines of Aggression, just so many. Rats. Blotcher's been in there. As a matter of fact, when Blotcher was doing some of his stuff, he would go over there and rehearse. Wild Side, Young Guns. Wednesday actually rehearses there as well. So it was great to hang, and it was a cool event and very unique. We had pizza, we had water, we had soda. We told everybody if you want to bring your own alcohol, you can. Just make sure you pick up your bottles. Outside little patio smoking area. It was just awesome. It really was. It was a lot of fun. We were there from 6 to midnight. Told fans they could come starting at 7, and some started showing up a little after that. And everybody just got to hang. It was a blast, Yeah,
it was. I mean, it was a regular Tuff show, but it was almost like a house party. You came in, everybody. Charlie, yeah, you're barking because you're so naughty. Came in, and people were sitting outside of the area. It was Studio A at Nightingale Studios. People were hanging out. Some people were drinking beer. People were eating. Eventually, we all make our way into where you guys played. There's about 50 people. Schneids was running the merch booth, and you guys played, an hour set. afterwards, everybody was milling around. Everybody got to go up on stage and take pictures with you. You were signing autographs. Here's a picture of me
Mike,
and Wednesday
Michael,
13.
Michael brought the drums. We brought We brought one of our
Yep.
backdrops. So it looked the same way it would see if you were seeing us in a club, you know?
Yes.
And that studio has got a raised stage and monitor system and a PA and lights and the whole deal. So it was awesome, you know?
Really.
It was awesome. It was really a good time.
I wanted to point out this is Lonnie Huey and her sister Loki.
Yep.
And you mentioned Lonnie was in The Decline. Lonnie's in the
Yep.
blonde hair. And this is a kind of a really cool moment for me. But after the show, I sat with them for it felt like an hour and listened to stories about being on the Sunset Strip. Lonnie was telling me about seeing Poison before Cece was in the band.
Yeah.
And there being like nobody there, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden a few people there, and
Right.
then before you know it, they become the biggest band in the world. She told me the story about when Warrant lost their drummer and singer, and she goes over to Steven Sweet, but she called him Sticky because he went by Sticky in those days.
Mhm.
She goes over to Sticky Sweet's apartment, and his roommate Janie Lane is at work, and she tells Sticky, "Hey, you guys in Plain Jane who are looking for a new band because that band broke up, you guys need to go talk to these Warrant guys." So she was instrumental in getting Plain Jane and Warrant to join forces.
Mhm.
Anyway, I could have sat and listened to. So at the end of the night, she and I exchanged phone numbers, and I'm like, would love to have you come on and do an interview and just talk about, being a part of the scene and being, witnessing some of the most iconic moments of that scene in the 80s. It was awesome.
Yeah, and if anybody's read my Tuff diaries, you'll remember that in one of the earlier diaries, maybe the second or the third one, I'm in my bedroom at the Tuff Muff Mansion, and I'm laying on my bed in my underwear, and there's a shamefully admitting there's a Bret Michaels poster on the wall, but Lonnie is the chubby girl sitting on my bed next to me. Lonnie's
Right.
been my dear friend from the beginning. She's the one who actually gave me a ride to rehearsal. I didn't know who she was, but the guys had told me our friend Lonnie is going to pick you up. So she came and buzzed the buzzer at the apartment I was at, and I came downstairs and she was waiting for me, and I got in her car and she's like, "Do you want anything from 7-Eleven? I'm going to get a drink." And so she bought me a big gulp, and then she drove me to Rocking Horse Studios in Canoga Park. And I've known Lonnie and Loki ever since. Their brother Dave was the security guard for Poison. So if you look in the credits, it'll say like Dave, brother, Huey, security. They were all friends with Poison to the point where when Poison was local and didn't have a pot to pee in, Lonnie and Loki's mom would invite them over for Thanksgiving and feed them. And so one of the first house parties that I went to when I was joined Tuff a month after was at the Huey house. And they had, the main house, a guest house, a pool, and there was a ton of people there. And that night, Bret Michaels was there. That was the first time that me and Bret actually met and took a picture together. I had met him briefly when they played in Wisconsin with Quiet Riot in 1986. But at this point, now they had just went platinum and became big stars, but they were still friendly with the Hueys and would come around. I don't know if it was Bobby or Ricky, but one of the others were there as well. But at some point, that was their family was, like you said, was instrumental in being involved with a lot of the bands. They were friends with the bands. They would help them, and their family would feed the bands. And here we are. So Lonnie and Loki came to the whiskey, and they came to that private party, which
Yes.
everybody knew them, and everybody was so excited to see them.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get. I think Lonnie is mainly wants to come on and do an interview. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to shout out Schneids,
Awesome.
who I hadn't, we had texted before. I knew who he was. I knew he was your buddy in Exciter, but he came down and he did like a lot, did a lot of the merch stuff for you guys. And he was just the coolest, nicest, always willing to answer questions, and Jeremy was like, he showed Jeremy around the whiskey, and just an awesome guy. So Schneids, it was so awesome hanging out with you.
Yeah, I'm going to show a picture of Schneids and me right now.
There you go.
This is so that's, is that too bright?
There, it got a little glary.
I'm trying to. Okay, so
When you
that's
hold it back a
Jason.
little bit, there you go.
Is that better? Jason
Yep.
in the black hair with the stripes. I'm next to him. Schneids is next to him, and then Jim Gipp is the drummer's on the far side here. At this point, damn it, I'm going to text you this photo. Can you pull it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to get it onto my computer first.
Or do you want me to email it to you? I'm going to email it to you then.
Just go ahead. Yep. Yes, do that.
Yeah, I want to email this photo. So yeah, at this point, God, I don't even know how young we are. I mean, we're all like teenagers.
Hey,
Jim,
let me interrupt real quick. Lonnie Huey is in the chat. You just missed us talking about
Lonnie!
you and how
No, she probably
awesome
heard
you
it.
were, and how I need to interview you. So I told you some. So anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge Lonnie Huey is here. So FYI, you are in the midst of greatness, hair metal greatness. Okay.
What did I miss? Lonnie, we were just telling everybody the story about who you are, that you were in decline, that you were important figure on the strip with being friendly with Warrant and Poison and Tuff and New Haven and Paradise and the other Paradise and everybody. Lonnie's absolutely Sunset Strip royalty. Her whole family is. But Lonnie's like the queen. She's the head honcho, you know? So, and her mother used to work at the post office. Her mother was so sweet to us. And she's also friends with Ken Dog Caruth, who was our guitar tech. He's went on to Soulfly. There's a lot of people that are affiliated. You know, some guys were in bands. Some people were friendly with the band. Some people were, you know, makeup artists or clothing designers and road crew and just a whole little, what's the word? Just a family. You know, everybody was so connected and so friendly. And there's Lonnie and Loki. And Dave, their brother, was not at the rehearsal VIP event, but he was at the whiskey with his wife. And crazy, you know, it's crazy that 30, almost 40 years has went by. I mean, literally 40 for some of us.
And then Stevie, I got your picture. So here's Exciter. So go ahead.
So on the looking at the picture on the left, that's Jason Giordano. He was our guitarist. He now lives in Nashville. He was actually in Panther for a while. He came out to LA and at some point joined Panther. He was also in Tangerine. If anybody remembers the band Tangerine, they had some buzz. And then he was also in, God, what was the band called with Johnny Martin? I'm trying to remember. I'm drawing a blank. Crash Radio. He was in Crash Radio. That was kind of like a Matchbox 20-ish band that was happening at the end of the 90s into the 2000s. And of course, that's me and the Hulk Hogan yellow. That's Schneids in the purple tights. Schneids was the bass player. And then on the far right, that's Jim Gipp. He was the drummer. When Jim played with us, he was like 16. Jason was probably 18. And me and Schneids are probably 19 here. So we're all teenagers. But me and Schneids were legal to drink because we beat the drinking age at that point. We beat it before we turned 18 before 1986. So we were legal per se. Jim, I think Jim missed it, but he drank anyways. So that's exciting. That's exciting. Okay. And Schneids, you're right. Schneids is part of the family. 100%. Yep.
Totally. Amazing night. All the tough stuff and all the people that made it happen, all the people that treated me so awesome. Thank you. And I wanted to point out, I did star a couple comments. Johnny David Music. I'm almost 52 from Western Australia. I still get fucking like people from Australia watch this shit. Like
Right.
that baffles me. That's amazing. Musician for 35 years. My dad retired to Thailand recently, but too soon passed away in January. I'm finally gonna do stuff. That's my motto now is, man, all the shit that I used to find excuses not to do, all the concerts, all the trips, which I know take money too, but man, I'm from here on out, I'm going to do as much of it as I can because I have to. I don't want to regret it. And here a couple more, and then maybe I'll kind of just recap what happened hanging out with Blotzer. I know people are maybe interested in that. And then meeting Ricky Rocket and hanging
Yeah,
out with him a little bit.
we got to hear about your time hanging with Blotzer and Rocket. 100%.
Yes. Spencer, Anthony again. Spencer from Florida wanted to say Kick-Ass Channel is getting me through my chemo treatments. Thank you, Stevie, and all the roundtable guys for helping me get through this. Much love, Spencer.
Thank you, Spencer. Sorry you're having to deal with that. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
and
man.
it's hearing a story like that or a situation and realizing there's people going through that in life. I've taken inventory with myself to say to myself, even though we still do it when we complain about the heat or traffic or TV signal's not good or there's a line at the post office. These things are insignificant in the big picture. When you're dealing with health issues, people passing away, struggles in life that way, they're obviously much greater than us complaining about traffic or a long stoplight or going through the drive-through and them getting your order wrong or not putting enough ketchup packets in there. So, and I know we're all guilty, including myself, of making complaints about just trivial, minuscule things. But I myself have tried to go and be more positive, including posting things like I love my kids, I love my family, I love my girlfriend,
Yeah.
I love my friends, like I did today. We have to try to put some more positivity out there to take away from the person snapping on Instagram at McDonald's and going to behind the counter and starting a fist fight with somebody because they got their order wrong.
Yeah.
As crazy as that is. But shout out to Spencer.
Spencer, I don't claim to be the world's best Christian or whatever, but I have my beliefs and I'm going to say a prayer for you, man, because I'm hoping everything goes okay and that
And
you
my
get through this.
and the guy before this that's down in Australia whose father recently passed away. And
Yes.
you know,
Ab- absolutely. Absolutely. Disheveled by Dawn says, I hope to get to see Tuff at some point. I do too. I really hope you do. And I know you guys are playing Ohio. I know you're going to be on the Monsters of Rock cruise. I'll be at the Monsters of Rock cruise, and I'll be, and again, I'll acknowledge that this stuff isn't free.
yeah.
I spend very little money. I've saved up, so I mean that's why I've been able to do some things. But I still get that these things are hard to do. But I hope you get to see Tuff, whether it's here or maybe at a cruise or something. I really do.
And I will say, I'll be in a Brazil. For anybody in Brazil right now, I'll be in Brazil in October. I'm playing in Sorocaba. I believe it's on the 10th, 9th or 10th. I'm playing in Rio de Janeiro. As a matter of fact, I can tell you the exact dates right now. Hang on one second. Let me just quick look at the calendar. I'm going to be in Brazil in October, and I'm going to be playing in Sorocaba on October 9th, Friday. I'm going to be playing in Rio de Janeiro on Saturday the 10th. I'll be playing in Curitiba on the 16th and Sao Paulo on the 17th. The first two shows I'm doing with Night Stinger, and I think Bastards is on one of them. They've reunited. Then on the second weekend, Lorraine Lewis of Femme Fatale and Tony West of Blacklist Union are coming down. They're going to be on the shows in Curitiba and in Sao Paulo. So you'll get Lorraine and Tony and Stevie Tuff, along with Night Stinger in
in Curitiba on the 16th, and in Sao Paulo on the 17th. Then Tuff is going to play a couple of shows in Ohio. We're going to be playing in Cleveland. I don't know the exact location yet, but I know the date. We're going to be playing in Cleveland on Friday, December 4th in the Cleveland area. And then on Saturday, December 5th, we're going to be playing at Kenny Ozfest at MVP's in Cincinnati. Those are the only shows that are on the books for Tuff this fall. There's actually a couple other things that might come to life, but I don't have a confirmation on them yet. There might be a CWA show or two with myself and Jamie. So it's the 30th anniversary of Cheeseheads with Attitude this coming September. And next year we'll definitely be on the cruise, May 6th through the 11th, along with the Hair Metal Guru and 40 or 50 other bands. That's coming out of leaving Los Angeles. And there's some other stuff coming in the future as well. But those are the dates I have right now. And we want to hear about your hang with Blotzer and Ricky. So read these and tell us about it, Guru.
Okay. Let me just acknowledge this one. Welcome, L3 from ND. Welcome home, Guru. Jeremy was a great addition to your adventure. Stevie, I'm keeping an eye out for a Tuff show. Upper Midwest sometime. Well, you just heard it here. Ohio coming up. So keep an eye out. Follow us on social medias and you'll get all those updates. L3 from ND. Thank you. Okay. So, and I don't want to say this like, oh, let me tell you about how connected. Let me drop some names. But yeah, Blotzer and I started, we texted after the interview and we'd send each other funny jokes and shit. And then we call each other now and then. And I would,
and dick pics.
And dick pics. I'm like, Blotzer, you ever seen one like this? This is what it looks like when it's cold in North Dakota. Just kidding. So, and no, I don't. Somebody, I saw a question, so I'll acknowledge it. Somebody said, is it hard to not fanboy? And where's that question? Oh, here it is. Anthony, I'm curious, of the names and people you've met, do you stay cool or do you fanboy and ask for autographs? I do not ask for, I don't. I don't call Blotzer and go, Blotzer, I was wondering about this, about Rat. I just, I'm not going to be that guy. I get why people think it's hard. And maybe before I started this channel, I would have. But, number one, without sounding like I'm bragging, I do kind of feel like, hey, I'm in music too. So I'm not, I don't meet Ricky and go, Ricky, tell me about Every Rose. Or I just hey, so anyway, told Blotzer, I'm like, yeah, I'm coming to town because I'm going to see Stevie Rachelle and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, let's hang out. And I'm like, shit, yeah, sounds good. So Jeremy and I got invited to his house. In fact, we were on our way to his house and he calls me and he's like, hey, there's an Aerosmith tribute band tonight. Do you guys want to go to that after we eat? And I'm like, do I want to go to an Aerosmith tribute band with Bobby Blotzer? I suppose. Right. So anyway, we go to his house. We hang out at the pool. He's awesome. We're throwing the ball to his dog. He's captivating us with stories about whatever, music and shit. Right. Jeremy is a drummer. They're talking drum stuff and all that. And then his house is amazing, by the way. Pool with the waterfall and shit. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, hey, let's go eat. So we take his Tesla. He's showing us, his fucking self-driving car. We go out to eat. And it was and that was awesome. It was at a local neighborhood pub. It was 90. He gave us, I don't know where I put it. He gave us these Rat keychains that they had back in the day. He's like, I wanted to give you something. So I had, gave us those. He gave me enough for the other guys on the round table. Awesome. And then after we ate, he's like, guys, it's 90. It was hot as shit. He's like, it's 97 degrees out. The concert is outside at 7:00. We get done eating at 5:30. He's like, I don't know if I can go to this show. But he's like, you guys go ahead. Well, Ricky Rocket had texted me early because I had reached out to Ricky Rocket and I just messaged him on Facebook and I said, hey, man, your book's coming out pretty quick. If you ever want to come on and do an interview to promote it, let me know. So he responds and he's like, I do. And I said, awesome. I said, I'm not available next week because I'm going to be in Los Angeles. But after that, I'm available. And so he said, well, let's meet up in Los Angeles. I was like, sounds good. So he gave me his phone number and I texted him and he said, hey, it's Saturday night. I'm going to be at an Aerosmith tribute concert, which is what Blotzer had. Well, Blotzer decided he wasn't going to go. So Jeremy and I went. When we got there, I texted Ricky and I said, hey, we're here. If you want to meet up. So he's like, dude, come find me. So we went and found him. He was hanging out with Mick Sueda. I asked Mick Sueda if he saw the Metal Sludge article about his big, you know what? And he kind of laughed and he goes, yeah. And my wife was like, ha ha, about this Metal Sludge article. So it was pretty hilarious. So, Ricky, I think I got a couple pictures. Ricky took a couple pictures. And then, and so ask if I fanboy. Ricky was like, hey, I'm going to go up front. And I'm like, I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm going with you. So he went up front. Me and Jeremy went somewhere else and watched the show. Well, a little while later, he came over and he hung out with us for the rest of the night. And he was awesome. And I'll tell you what I said in my live the other day. And let me see if I can find this picture. In my live, people came up and recognized him. And here's Ricky, blah, blah, blah. So here, I'll get this picture up. People come up and they were like, hey, Ricky. And they would say, I met you back in the day. And he would always say, like, I hope I treated you well. Like, not that he worried that I was a big, but, I hope, because, I'm sure they were busy as shit back in the day. So he would always say that, like, I hope I treated you well. Mm-hmm. So this is a picture he took of the girl down below. That's his drum tech. There's Mick, there's me, and Jeremy in the back. So anyway, he ended up finding us. We kind of hung out by him the rest of the night. And I was so impressed and by the way, the Aerosmith tribute band Ragdolls were phenomenal. And I talked to their singer, Susie Major was awesome. I was like, man, she could have done like a Janis Joplin tribute. But at the end of the concert, Ricky was like, well, my daughter's here. I'd love to have you meet her. I'm like, cool. So we went and he introduced me to his daughter, Lucy, and talked to her for a little bit. And then he was like, I'm going to go talk to Susie from the Aerosmith tribute band. So I went with him and his daughter. And then I met Dangerous Darren from Sirius XM. So I have a picture, Sirius XM, Harry Nation. I think I have a picture of that. He and I exchanged numbers.
And Dangerous Darren used to be on KNAC as well.
That's right.
He was a KNAC jock back in the day when he had hair. We kind of joked about that. One of the times I seen him, I actually found a photo of him and I showed it to him. He goes, look at me. That's when I had hair. And I go, yeah, me too.
Right.
Oh, there he is.
Right.
Yeah, with Ricky.
So exchanged numbers with Darren because I was like, hey, man, all right. I walked up to him and I said, hey, my name's Anthony. I don't know if you know me, but I'm the hair metal guru. And he was like, dude, I know you. I follow you on social media. I watch your stuff. And I'm like, holy shit. So anyway, told him, I said, I'd love to have you on the show for an interview if you're ever interested. So we talked about that. And then Ricky and I went back to where he was hanging out with his friends. Jeremy was back there. I said, man, it was awesome to meet you. Gave him a hug and we left. And that was my day with Blotzer and my night going to an Aerosmith concert and hanging out with Ricky Rocket. And it was amazing. I was like, holy fuck. Like, I never saw that coming when I was 18 years old. So
yeah, dude, I'm so glad you had so much fun, and I knew that Blotzer would be a great host. He's always done that over the years. He's had pool parties and he likes to host, and he's a foodie too. I think Blotzer used to make, he was
remember him talking about making salsa, like he was making salsa,
Right.
but that's so awesome that you guys got to hang. And as I told you, it's private, but me and Blotz texted a little bit and he said some really nice things about you.
Yep.
So
I
that's awesome.
he texted me yesterday, hey, checking to see if you got home okay, and
Yeah,
was just like, if I go out there again, I mean, he's been like, let me know, we'll get together again. So anyway,
right.
that was
Awesome.
kick ass, and Ricky was super nice, and to Jeremy and I said this, and I give you a lot of credit for this. When we left, like the week was 10 times better than we thought it was going to be. Even little things that we were like, maybe we'll get to meet Wednesday 13. Maybe we'll get to say hi to Ricky Rocket. Maybe we'll meet Bobby Blotzer. Every
Right.
little maybe
Right.
became a reality and then some. And so you guys, without you, I don't end up in LA being on stage at the Whiskey, meeting all these people without you. So I just wanted to again say thank you for an amazing week to everybody, you and Stephanie especially.
Yeah, I was just
It
gonna say
was
maybe you'll get to meet Stephanie Mandel. Maybe.
yeah, right,
If I
right.
can get her, if I can get security clearance, I'll get you close enough. You can get a photo with her. Not guaranteed, though. It's not
I
guaranteed.
I hear you. It was truly one of the greatest weeks of my life, and to like I said, also just to meet so many people who were like, "Hey, I want to meet you." You've probably been through that your whole life. That is a completely new thing for me, and so to all the people who had even an inkling of an interest in knowing who I was or taking a picture, you made my week better than I ever dreamed it would have been. So
Well, and I will say this, seeing you flourish per se, seeing John Toro walk in the room in Charlotte, and some of these younger musicians that are getting recognized, or even when the guys in Wild Side showed up. And I know that you're just like, you love that record. You're such a huge fan.
fuck.
And, and then not only Drew, but Drew and Mark and Jimmy, they're all there, and you get to, hang out and schmooze with them. It's awesome. And there's going to be more of that. It's like when you went to Kiefer and Karabi, and I was texting them, and then at some point, you're in the venue for I don't even not even that long, and obviously getting noticed, but at some point you literally run into John. You're like,
Yeah.
Stevie was texting me about you earlier, and now
Yeah.
you're hanging out with John and the guys, and texting with Jeremy. And so, and
Yeah.
every time you go to a show, that's going to happen. It's going to happen more and more and more, especially as the channel's grown,
Here is the picture of me and Drew Rose from Wildside and Mark Simon, the bass player from Wildside. I also met
Awesome.
Jim, and it was awesome to see those two face to face and say, "You guys, you put out one of my favorite records of all time." So there was a little bit of a fanboy moment meeting those guys. So
Let's give a shout out to Skins from American
Yep.
Jet Set as well. He now bought the Hammerjacks brand.
Yep.
So I just had a shirt. You just had. Well, there you're wearing there. You're wearing one there. Everybody that's ever toured in a band or anyone a fan from the East Coast, that Hammerjacks was a legendary venue in the Baltimore area. They're going to launch a merchandise brand line of Hammerjack stuff, and I talked to Skins, and I'm comping them some initial ads for free on the Sludge. So you're going to see some advertisements for Hammerjacks. Go buy some swag, support it. He gave me a shirt. He gave Guru a shirt. They're cool brand. It's a cool thing. That logo for any band that ever toured there, they remember it. People go, "Oh, you played Baltimore? Did you play Hammerjacks?"
Yeah.
And I recently looked. There was some photos somebody shared of us from Hammerjacks from not, they recently shared it in the last year or two, but it was from '91, and it's just this massive throng of people. We have all our Tuff logo, Marshall amps and Ampegs and the whole deal. It was a great venue. Yeah,
Speaking of
another shout out.
American Jets, speaking of American Jet Set here, and we're going to wrap up, you guys. I know we're
Yep.
going over. We kind of figured we might
Yep.
go over a little bit. So Francis Grump says, I started listening to American Jet Set because of the channel. Love checking out bands they talk about on here. Maybe I haven't heard of yet. American Jet Set is phenomenal. They put out a great show at the Whiskey the other day. So
Awesome.
here's one that I just wanted to. I'd like an interview with Mickey Finn. I'd like to tell you, Sofa King, that it's on the channel. I interviewed him a few months ago. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out there.
Awesome.
SM6194. We'll get through these questions and then we'll wrap it up. You deserve every bit of your coming success, Anthony. Keep your head straight. Learn from Marky Mark and Rockstar. Keep it going, guys. Great stuff. Thank you. I really do. That means a lot. I appreciate it. And then one more super chat from Caton Brooks. Hopefully I pronounced that right. He's going to be going to Monsters on the Mountain. We're going to meet up there. We were chatting on Facebook. Stevie, I interviewed you in 98. I offered to skip class for it, and you said, nope, go to class. We'll talk after. Fun memory. Love and respect, guys.
Awesome. Let's do this before we close out. Let's just grab 6 or 8 questions, just random questions from whoever or comments, and let's post them as well.
Okay. And here I got it, because here's one I forgot from Patrick. This is for you, Stevie. Patrick Reeves says, Stevie, what is the hardest Tuff song in the set to sing?
Well, as it gets later in the set, it gets harder. I mean, at some point you get warmed up, but I always tell myself, maintain, pace yourself, but I'm yelling and screaming, and Hairband is a hard song to sing, and it's usually last. But, if you listen to that, a lot of those lyrics are just, they're overlapping and it's fast, and the song, the meter Michael might pick up because of the excitement of the crowd, and to keep up with it, I'm like sucking wind to try to get through it.
Right. And then I'm looking for maybe some. So I will point out that guess who is in the chat? It's American Jet Set.
What's
Glad
up,
to be
Ian?
Yes, Ian. Man, what a thrill to go up and introduce you guys. And like I told people there, I've been playing your single, Running on Empty, the Jackson Browne cover. American Jet Set has a new album, Wild America. I think that's Wild America, right? Coming out in October. So go follow their social medias, keep up with what they're doing, download, listen to Running on Empty, get ready for Wild America coming in October, because I am super pumped about that album. So, Stevie, I'm going to see if I can find a couple comments. So you might have to give me a minute. I'll see what I can find. Here's one for you. Stevie, did you ever meet the late Jan Kuhneman, guitarist of Vixen?
I don't know if I ever did. I know that she formed that band in Minnesota in the early 80s, and then at some point came west and then founded the group out here again with, Roxy, who was originally, I think, part of Madam X. I don't know where the other girls came from, but it was Jan that started the band. I'm pretty sure she was from Minneapolis. I'm guessing I met her at some point over the years, but I don't have a vivid memory of that. But she was a sweet woman. Nice girls in that band. I know a bunch of them. They're friends with Stephanie as well. Richie Kotzen's wife is the bass player. She's from Brazil. She's awesome. Britt Lightning is the guitarist. She's obviously dating Tommy London. She's awesome. And their singer is the Canadian girl that was she on The Voice or something like that, who replaced Lorraine?
I don't know, but totally.
And Roxy's the OG on the drums.
Yep. Here I got a couple other things here.
Awesome.
Scarred. So American Jet Set, great to speak. Jan Kuhneman. Well, I'll just point out Disheveled by Dawn. I'm super jealous of hanging with Blotzer. And who is Lonnie Huey says, I love Schneids. Everybody loves Schneids. And Schneids, What can, because he has some new music coming out. He sent me a song. I'm going to work on getting it on Rock 101 KLOL. Do you know what's like? Is he putting out an EP or what is he
Well,
putting out?
he's done a few. Like he's getting ready to release something new. I think he might have just recently started promoting a couple singles. But he's previously, aside from the bands he was in, Stagger Lee, and I'm just gonna punch me for forgetting the other band. But he's put out some of the music from his original bands. Then he also did a couple of, I think he called it an A-B side. It was like a 2-song single. And I think I don't want to get this mixed up, but I'm almost positive Alex from LSD, Life, Sex, and Death, he actually produced part of it. So he's released a few things, but if you find him on social media, look for Mike Schneider. He's got some promo on there for some stuff that he's already released on CD. I think he even had a couple of vinyl singles that he made, and now he's doing more stuff that he was, I think it was about to come out, or he just recently started promoting it. So he's got a few different options as far as buying music from Schneid's. Find him and check it out. He's got a store with everything in it.
Awesome. Will Cheeseheads be doing a show in Wisconsin for the anniversary, Stevie?
Fingers crossed. I think so.
Okay. And then I got a couple more and then we'll wrap it up. I want to hail Johnny David Music says, hail Jeremy. Jeremy is a teacher in North Dakota. He is the nicest guy. Blotzer was like, dude, that guy has a good energy. He is like the most, you can't meet Jeremy without thinking like there's probably something wrong with this guy. Nobody is that happy and that positive all the time except for Jeremy. I am notoriously horrible in the mornings, and he would go downstairs and get me coffee every morning. And he just is the kind of guy who looks out after everybody, and he's a huge Blotzer fan. So I'll be honest, he was a little freaked out about going to hang out with Blotzer in a good way. So he got to hang with Blotzer and Rocket, and Jeremy plays drums in bands. So he had a hell of a day on Saturday, as did I. So I just wanted to shout out Jeremy and Stevie. He loved hanging out with you guys. So I appreciate you welcoming Jeremy.
And I got to give everybody a shout out. My phone has been buzzing here for the last couple hours, as it does every time we do one of these. People are ordering from me, or there's just ironic, I'm getting orders from eBay. I'm getting orders from the Metal Sludge store. I had got one from Amazon here, but people go to the Sludge store and they buy stuff, and often they're leaving messages. Saw you on the Hair Metal Chaos show. You and the Guru rule. Awesome. Saw this, watched that. And I literally have gotten like 4 or 5 orders again, just in the last hour. And thank you so much. And as always, I'm going to pump it up. If you order 2 CDs, you'll probably get 3. If you order the box set, you'll probably get a couple extra things. If you order a t-shirt, you're getting a CD. And thank you so much for anybody that supporting the channel. Jeremy's got a bunch of, or Jeremy, your name is not Jeremy, right? Anthony has links. Become a member of the channel, upgrade, check out his Spotify, shoot a PayPal or whatever's in there. Buy Charlie a box of dog biscuits. And there will be Hair Metal Guru and Hair Metal Chaos merch coming at some point, but we're going to do it right. We're not just going to have one shirt. We're going to have a bunch of stuff. And when we launch, you'll be the first to know.
I realized, I think I told the Blotzer story and I didn't even share a picture of us with Blotzer. So that was at the restaurant he took us out to, and I'll be putting out content. I got to put together all the videos and all the pictures I took of stuff. So that will be coming out in content in the following weeks. But I just wanted to show everybody that I really did hang out with Blotzer. Stevie, will you do a rendition of Air Supply's All Out of Love before we sign off?
No, but if you buy since 66, it's on there. But since
there you go,
guitar right here, it's funny. I've had a few people online say, because I don't play live with the band, I've had a few people say that I don't know how to play guitar. Oh shoot!
It's true. He doesn't.
Right.
Just kidding.
Here's a story about a lovely lady. Yeah, I do not play All Out of Love live, and I never will. But I did record it for my second solo CD since '66, and it's also I think it's on the covers record as well. Oh, every record I've done a cover, and then at some point, a few others here, a few others there. And so a couple years ago, I decided for the fourth solo record, I was just going to do covers, and I put all the covers together, including a few new ones I did and a couple that I did on some Shameless records. But yeah, I'm not going to do any acoustic All Out of Love, not today. But
There you go. To see Tuff at the Whiskey Untouchable, absolutely. Disheveled by Dawn. I wish Tuff was playing Monsters on the Mountain. I wish they were too. But they are playing the Monsters of Rock cruise next year, and you can go to that. And then I got two more comments, and then we'll wrap it up, you guys.
Okay, good.
AVI rock on. AVI is the guy who created, hopefully this is the same person, but AVI created our Hair Metal Chaos like theme video and music, and he created my Hair Metal Guru theme. And he says, Stevie, any plans to come play in Europe? And if they are, bring the Guru along. Fucking that's a tag team. I need to get overseas sometime. Anyway, there's one for you.
Well, you got to ask Alex from Shameless because he's in charge of the European stuff with Shameless. And we were thinking about doing something this year. It didn't work out. We did a couple years ago. Was it 2024? Yeah, 2024. 2 summers ago, we did about like 10 or 12 dates. Myself with Shameless and Cherie Curry. We played a bunch of shows in Germany, including Munich and wherever else. We played 2 shows in Holland. We played the Czech Republic. I don't know. It's online. If you Google Shameless 2024 with Cherie Curry, it was like 10 or 12 shows. They actually played, meaning Cherie with them. They played that big festival, but I wasn't on it, and I was bummed. And I didn't go. I literally stayed in a hotel and rested my voice because doing 10 shows in 2 weeks, not easy. And at some point, I thought, if I go to this big festival and I got to walk around all day and have everybody go, dude, when are you playing? What stage? Where's your merch at? And I'm like, I'm just standing here watching. It's funny when all these big events happen, people always ask me if I'm going. I'm not going to any big events unless I'm playing.
Right.
It's like, I don't know what's the correlation? What's the analogy? Like, hey, do you want to go to, hey, you're starving to death. Hey, we're going to all go to this killer buffet, but you can't eat. You're just going to watch us eat.
Right.
No, I don't want to go. So if there's a big music festival with 5 stages and 50,000 people, I'm not going as a fan. I don't want to hang out. I want to go because I want to play. And when I didn't get booked and we couldn't weasel me in for a set, even if it was on a side stage, I'm like, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to be like a caged lion all day, walking around watching everybody else play. Of course, I would have been backstage. I would have been side stage. I would have had food and everything else, but I wouldn't have been able to sell any merch, and I wouldn't have been able to play. So it's kind of like it's a big mental tease, But I'd love to play Europe again with Alex. Okay,
and
what do we got? One or two
final
left?
one. And I figured this would be a good one to close off with because Chris Adams, who's a good friend of the channel, said the most glorious week of your life, Anthony. Of course, we are all jealous, but in a great way. Stevie, you're a hell of a guy. Stevie, you are a hell of a guy. It was, this is one of the greatest weeks of my life. I'm 53 years old, and the whole week I kept looking at Jeremy and going, are you shitting me? Like every day there would be somebody that I would meet, something we would do. And I just kept saying, you gotta be shitting me. Like, how is this happening? So thank you, Stevie. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Rainbow Whiskey, American Jet Set, Wednesday 13. Everyone, I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to go to Monsters on the Mountain. I can't wait for the Monsters of Rock cruise. All of these events, but this week in Los Angeles was like I got to live my rock star dream, and I'll never forget it.
Awesome. Thank you, Anthony. You rule. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. See you next week.
Hey, go down in the description. You'll find the link to Metal Sludge, the Sludge store. Keep up with what we're doing. You'll find the link to my Spotify. You'll find the link to get Charlie some biscuits. And hey, whatever else you can do to support the channel. Truly, we really do appreciate you being here. Until next week's Hair Metal Chaos, my name is Anthony, but they call me the Guru. Take care of yourselves.